What's going on, folks? We're back for Logan's Lowdown, a show where I interview people that I find interesting or want to get to know more, and this is one of those cases where it is both. I'm joined by the one and the only Cuse. Corey.
Cuse
Wall.
Corey, I like
Cuse
that.
Corey.
That's cool.
Yeah?
Happy to be here, man.
Thank you for coming, man.
Thank you.
Happy to have you. This is something ever since we met that first day, I was like, that dude would be a good guest.
You did. You said that the first time we hung out.
It's like, hey, you ever been on a podcast before? Because this would be sick.
I was like, I used to listen to him all the time in UPS truck when I was delivering, but I've never been on one, so first one.
Damn. So I'm always awkward at introductions, but tell the people who is Corey? Who is Corey?
Corey Wall, man. He's a cool guy from Syracuse.
Also, cheers. Thanks for being here.
Oh, cheers, man. Thank you.
What are you sipping on over there?
Mickey
Ultra?
Yeah.
We got a truly original lemonade. If they want to send me money, please do. Or Mick Ultra. I'll take it from either.
I've told you this before, but there's no Labatt Blue really down here. I mean, you could search and find it maybe, but that's always the beer of choice for me.
Really?
Yeah, it's like everything that you find in Syracuse, New York. Buffalo, obviously, with the Bills. So they do like Josh Allen cans. And so Labatt Blue is like what everyone at the bars drink, everything like that.
Is it like a brewery that's up there? Or is it like what kind of a beer is it?
Well, it's funny because it's Canadian beer, like Molson, if you've heard of it.
Yeah.
So it's a Canadian beer. Everyone knows of it, but something that no one will care about is that my brother used to deliver beer, and he always told me it's actually made in like Western New York, like Buffalo area.
Yeah.
So, the Canadian beer thing, it's not actually Canadian. I'm like, okay, Mike, you know. But Canadian beer.
Okay, cool, interesting.
It's Budweiser adjacent.
Okay.
You know? So it's
like a light beer?
yes.
Okay.
Domestic Pilsner.
Okay.
Nothing fancy. Tastes
Gotcha.
similar, but the real ones no.
Okay, the real ones know. Comment if you've had one of these. I've not.
Labatt Blue or Labatt Blue Light?
Okay. What is it? Labatt?
Labatt.
Okay.
Labatt. 2 T's at the end. Labatt.
Labatt. All right.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Cool. So, I haven't really asked you the extent of what I know about you, and sometimes I do this strategically when I'm like, okay, I want to get to know this person, but I also selfishly want to save it for an opportunity like this, where we can just shoot the shit and just talk about life and everything. So every time I'm with you, I try to be conservative, but you're such a good conversationist. Is that a word? That it's hard not to get sucked into a conversation with you.
Seriously.
So how did you end up in Georgia after Syracuse? I don't know if I know this. And if I do, I forgot, and maybe I don't know it, but how'd you get here?
Well, just to say, you said it first time you met me that you wanted to do the podcast, and then I could kind of feel the conservativeness in the asking me things or whatever. So it's funny you say that.
But now after this, full steam ahead.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We're very similar. We both just can keep talking forever.
Yep.
So yeah, to answer your question, I mean, coming to Georgia was kind of spontaneous. I mean, my now fiance, she and I have been together 7-8 years ish total, but we've been engaged now since September, so almost 6 months. Bad at math, I guess 5 months. So it's new as of I did it here in Georgia, but yeah, her mom moved here to take care of her grandma probably 4 years ago. Her dad followed a year after that because he had to finish up work. So 3 years ago for her dad. And then her brother 2 years ago. He got down here 2 years ago. And then we bought a house in Syracuse, lived there for a year, and then we rented it out. And we were like, we got these tenants lined up. Where are we going? What are we doing? And we moved around once or twice before, so we were like, let's try an out of state. Georgia. Okay. Where do they live? Kennesaw, Ackworth area. Okay. I don't know anything about that, but let's visit. We did a week. I was like, this is sweet. I like it. It's really clean and just everything's great. People are cool. So let's do it, I had a job that I was gonna do as a career for the rest of my life, UPS driver, and nothing but great things. No matter who you talk to, it's a hard job, long hours, but pays good. Benefits are the best. But things didn't work out at some point. And I can go in on that however you'd like. But
whatever you're comfortable with.
well, it's funny. I kind of did a lot of things, filled my resume, every category of things you can do. I did it all. And like I said, was going to settle down and do that for the rest of my life. I loved it. Doing your thing all day on the road, getting off the packages, music playing, like what's better than that? But long story short, the last thing of my resume I didn't do was the thing I actually took electives for in high school, business. And I went to college for a semester and did business. And I'm kind of jumping around here.
Did you graduate college?
No, so
Okay.
that's what I was gonna say is I did one semester and then I got an opportunity to be full-time at a hotel where it was a really nice hotel. And I was like, that's a great opportunity. Customer service, hospitality. College wasn't for me, man. I mean, high school was barely for me. So school just was tough.
What kind of student were you? Was it just tough because you weren't organized? Was it tough because you were just a horrible test taker? Because that's how I was.
Yeah.
You could teach me long division all day and long, but the second the test sits in front of me, all of the information goes out the window and I suddenly forget how to do everything.
I was a slow test taker, but because I knew I was slow, I got it done at the last pencil drop moment, every test. So I was the last person done in all my tests, but because I knew I was slow, I didn't panic and I was pretty good at tests. I was a great student when I was there. I hated homework, but who doesn't? It's just one of those things where I just couldn't pay attention in school either. I'd rather be talking to my friends or focused on other things. I listen to Whiskey Ginger, Andrew Santino's podcast a lot, and he says it all the time and I resonate with it. He was a really good student when he put his mind to it. Sure. And that's exactly how I feel.
I feel like thousands of kids are like that.
Yeah. And I wasn't a bad student. I was really respectful to everyone and teachers and everything. So I was never a problem child.
Mm-hmm.
I followed rules to a T. I was scared of getting in trouble.
Yeah.
So I never really did anything wrong growing up.
Really?
Yeah. I only have one older brother and he was a problem child. Okay. And so I kind of just learned from that. I was just gonna follow rules.
Okay.
So no, I don't know, man. I just hated it. It was just, I didn't think the things that they were teaching was I felt I literally at the time felt like half of it was even meaningful.
Right.
This I'm gonna regurgitate on the next test on Friday.
Right.
And then it doesn't matter.
Right.
So it was just tough to focus on it. And then also we talked about this recently that I went to a very big high school, huge, and we only had 4 guidance counselors. And that means each guidance counselor has 400 kids each, 300. And my guidance counselor knew my brother. So she literally saw me and was like, okay, I don't really know what's in the cards for you, if anything. And I'm like, hello, treat me like a new person you just met.
Right.
But so she didn't offer any universities. And just was local community college that's right up the road that we send everyone to, literally everyone, even if you were a straight A student. They were just
Go to community
OCC,
college,
Onondaga Community College is a great college, and it is. So that's only thing she mentioned. That's all I looked at, and that's where I went. Great college again. It does make a lot of successful people. It's only 2 years, so you can get your associates, and then you can go wherever after that. But I went because my immediate family, I'm the only person that even graduated. My mom, dad.
High school?
Yes, high school.
Really?
So I was like, hell yeah, I'm that dude for finishing high school. Let's go to college and be even
one
more.
up it. Yeah.
And so I went, and winters in Syracuse, I commuted there. And it was 40-minute drive. And winters are brutal. It was really hilly there, and I had a shitbox car. And so getting there every day was tough. And then walking from the building, almost a mile walk to the next building in the freezing snow blizzard, I was just all right, this sucks. And I'll never forget it. I went into my business 101 class. I majored in it. That was the class I was like really focused on.
Sure.
First week, syllabus week, teacher goes, I'm in so much debt, student loan debt, that I'm never going to pay it off ever. Like, I'll die with it. And she said that and giggled after it. And I was just like, okay, like, that's the one thing I don't want. I want to be the successful person in my family or something like that, you know? I didn't really have any role models growing up. I had nothing like that. So, but like, I had dreams, of course, and I wanted to like outdo my family, which was a low bar, but you know, I just wanted to do good for myself. So
Sure.
when I heard that though, man, as a 18-year-old
Kind of makes
kid,
you panic.
I was fucking freaking out. And so
Yeah.
I just was like, I started like the determination dropped,
Sure.
and I was just like, all right, well, this job fell in my lap. The feeling of that job falling in my lap is actually the exact same feeling of when this job I currently have approached me when I was going through shit at UPS. It's a sales job that I currently have, and that's the thing I always wanted to do was business, finance, marketing, business, sales, like something sales in that, because like you work for your money, and I love that. So if I can go and beat the guy next to me and double my check than him, I'm like, let's go. Always wanted to do it. Never liked the opportunities that I saw, so I never got into it. It's actually not a long story, but just to wrap up the UPS thing, I paid a lot of money for a vacation, and then I told my boss about it. It was 8 months from when I told him about it. Yeah, no problem. When it came close to like putting in for it, he's like, you can't go. There's drivers of seniority above you. They're off that week. You can't. I laughed and I was like, I told you about it. He's like, well, you know, things change. That guy put it in for it and he gets it because he's above you. Sorry. So I was like, okay, well, that's insane. Right before that, month before it, I got this opportunity. My fiance works at this company, and she told me that before they put it out to the world that they're hiring, they want to ask for referrals, which they actually don't do. I've been there 2 years and they don't do that anymore, but they did it when she was there. And she put my name in, and I said, yeah, I'll take the interview. I remember being so nonchalant about it. I was just like,
Right.
yeah,
Because except for this situation, you were pretty much cool with UPS.
I loved it.
Like you did what you wanted, but anyway, continue.
With UPS, man, I crushed it. I got my routes done faster than the guy next to me, but I was hurting my own pocket. I was making less money because it's just an hourly job that if you got done sooner and got back to the building sooner and clocked out, you don't make as much money as the guy that's out later. And I love the idea of making commission. So I was so calm, like didn't have any intentions of taking it. And I just like, yeah, I'll take the interview. I get the interview and I'm sitting in front of a Skype camera and I'm just like talking to some bigwigs, but I didn't intend on taking the job. And so I'm calm the whole time, murdered the interview. I already think I'm a pretty good job interviewer. And because of the calmness, it was like double. Like I was so good at it. I killed it. And they just like gave me the job on the spot. And they always just like will say, you know, give me a day. I got to, interview the other candidates. They gave it to me on the spot. And then I said, okay, full transparency. Like I have to talk to my boss. He's on vacation right now. I need to yada, yada. When he gets back in 2 weeks, I'll put it in then, and then 14-day notice.
They were cool with it?
Yeah. And I was like, ideally I want to give him more than 14 days because I respect this place and I want the referral and all that. But it was just funny because they called me a week later and I told them the whole circumstance. I said, I can't take this job for, sounds like 30 days at least. So my hire date wouldn't be for a month and a half probably. They said, oh my God, we don't do that. Like that's, we don't do that. And I was like, okay. HR called me from this new job next day and was like, we will do that. A month and a half. Like, you want the orientation a month and a half, maybe 2 months right now? Like, I was like, yes, like you want me that? All right, cool. Let's do it.
The fact that they're willing to work with you just made it even more clear to yourself that this is the right thing.
I get to go on this vacation. The time period worked out amazing. I got to put in that 30-day notice right before going on the vacation. All that. It worked out great. They respected me. They loved me. It was all good with everyone. Got my orientation to be a week after I get back. So like there wasn't really a gap in pay, So I get back and get to start a new job. And that was probably the best vacation I've ever taken in my life too. So full like 20 friends and a huge house on the beach that we all rented out. So it was the best vacation, good transition. Didn't have to worry about my money or anything because of the full transition. So it couldn't have worked out any better. And then, like I said, man, just the determination of like working for my money, like commission. I was like, okay, I'm going to beat everyone if I want to. So going into it was just amazing. So I'm really happy I made the transition. I mean, sure, I miss UPS a lot though. Like I said, the music in the truck, whenever you every day, you're out there alone all the time. I loved it. Your office is the truck, like sick job. But just to wrap up the UPS talk, like you're never home to see your girl, your family. You can't plan dinner. You can't even plan your friends' outings. You can't. I'm a big sports guy. In Syracuse, I played kickball on Monday, volleyball on Tuesday, basketball Wednesday, softball Thursday and Friday, Saturday, another thing, and then Sunday doubleheaders. Like I played 6-7 nights a week sports, and it was so fun. And then like some of them were co-ed with, and Courtney would come and play. She's a big sports girl too, so she was a high school athlete and everything. So it was a good life. I loved the area I grew up in, and I still didn't even answer your question about how I came to Georgia. So.
Well, you did kind of about how her family got down here, and then
I did, yeah.
You guys were talking about like, okay, which I was going to comment on actually, so I'm glad you brought that back up. I really respect the fact that you guys made that move on your own rather than being forced, because every time I moved growing up, it was because I lived with my parents, and obviously when you're middle school, high school, you live with your parents, and my dad was just like, job's taking us to a new place, pack it up, and we left. And every single time we moved, it was it was because force. And you guys just said, I'm gonna up and leave everything and try something new. Yeah, you had her family local, that if it was horrible, at least you had her family. But you literally said bye to all of your friends and family and said, we're gonna try the South.
Yeah.
And
it definitely helps that I was 28 going into the move. So that, if this opportunity came up at 25, I would have been like, no, I love my friends so much and my life's great, and I wouldn't have done it. But yeah, it's funny because she didn't even know the area that well. So the family crutch being there for if anything happens, huge help. Big reason why we did it. But I could tell you if they lived in like Baltimore or something, I wouldn't have. I don't know, man. Like I don't know if we would have. Went to like a crappier area.
Yeah, but besides her family, obviously, yeah, no hate to Baltimore, although Baltimore is not a great place.
I heard downtown Baltimore's sweet, and I'm a Redskins Commanders fan, and I know that's right outside of it. So, but all the areas outside of the city suck, and I think that's pretty well known. I think it's pretty well known that like outskirts of downtown Baltimore are like
it's not
rough,
great.
But
there's this great show about the corruption in the Baltimore police departments and how corrupt they are and bought and paid for by the city they are. And it's called We Own This City. And it's really good. It's got John Bernthal in it, if you know who that is.
Punisher.
The dude that played Punisher. And he plays like one of the lead cops on the team. And it's really good. It's based off a true story, obviously. And it's with, people who, like everyone plays real people. And it's really, really good. The acting is just incredible. John Bernthal's great.
He's the best.
So, and yeah, Baltimore is just not a great place. But
if you go outside of the city, it's just, or even in it or whatever, it just feels like The Wire. Like,
honestly.
But and I can't believe we spent this much time in Baltimore. That was just an analogy, like
True.
Somewhere weird. I don't know if I would have done it, but yeah, 28.
If it was like Idaho, would you have gone?
I've heard great things about Idaho. Man.
Yeah, it's a
I
bad
heard it's
example.
A gem. Yeah, that's not a great example.
What about like, I was gonna say Utah. I heard Utah's beautiful too.
Yeah,
just gotta deal with the Mormon problem. I'm just kidding. Sorry to my Mormon friends. I don't have
anything West and Midwest and stuff. I'm down. I'm actually like really down for a lot now. I don't know if it's maturity or what, but like anywhere I'm down to try. Plus, I have friends that have done a lot of these random cities like Salt Lake, Utah, and then Oregon, and then like
Salt Lake truly is beautiful. No, I was just joking. That no disrespect to the Mormon community. I went there. Sorry to cut you off for a work trip. I worked at a company at the time, and I spent 2.5 weeks in Salt Lake City, and it was beautiful. I mean, it was flat. You could see the mountains all around you. Like it was wonderful. It was a crazy pretty city. It was just different about like the way that restaurants are set up, how bars are set up, because the Mormon religion they don't do much. I mean, they don't do violence, they don't do crazy drinking, they don't do a lot of things. So when I walk into a Buffalo Wild Wings and there's no bar, like, where's the bar? This is a Buffalo Wild Wings. They're like, oh, we don't have that because that's not the demographic out here. We have to know our audience. It's like, well, geez, it's different. So Utah is gorgeous, amazing pizza. Underrated pizza city. Never really knew that.
Really?
Until I went there and one of the locals was like, you got to try these 4 pizza places while you're here. And I was like, okay.
I would have never thought,
No?
especially being from New York.
Right? Exactly.
I didn't think anything else existed.
Yeah.
It's just
Right?
New York and then maybe Chicago, but whatever.
So anyway, back to what I was trying to get to is so you guys get here, you visit, obviously you visit her family, you visit the area. What made you look at her and say, yeah, let's do this. This is cool. What about Georgia? Were you just like, yeah, I'm down. Let's go for it.
You know, I tell a lot of people, friends back home and people here that I meet, that it's hilly just like upstate New York. A lot of people don't even know much about upstate New York, but there's the Adirondack Mountains in upstate New York, and so it's very hilly and it's beautiful for the most part. Like, upstate New York is awesome. I highly recommend it to everyone. I mean, Syracuse isn't a place that you'll ever like move to. You don't hear of anyone that's like, I'm moving to Syracuse because I want to. Unlike here, you know, people move to Atlanta all the time.
Right.
You know, what I can talk about, because, you know, obviously bad things happen in your life and then you're like, well, I kind of want to separate myself.
Sure.
So, you know me, man, I'm an open book. We can talk about anything and everything. I can get deep, dark, whatever. However, we can get a little sad. We can get whatever.
You can do whatever you are comfortable with. That's the whole point of this, is if you want to talk about it, we can talk about it.
That's cool. You know, a lot of weight on my shoulders when I was home in Syracuse. Always felt it kind of, but, you know, at 21, 22, 23, I wanted to start to excel, and I just couldn't get that weight off. Big Italian family, and they're all there. No one else really lives anywhere else, so they're all still in Syracuse. You mix Syracuse depression, because it's really gray, even in like the non-winter. The winter's like 7-8 months, and then it's just gray all the time and stuff. And the summer's beautiful, and then the fall for 2 weeks is sweet. But other than that, not great. And the city itself is just okay. By the way, I gotta say, Cuse is awesome. I love it. Shout out to Orange.
You just said the city itself is okay. It's gray, it's kind of depressing.
It's a fact that no one like moves there because they hear like they want to be there. Unless you're an athlete that's going to Syracuse University.
You're not moving to Syracuse.
And not even athlete. I guess they have a really good law program and stuff like that. But just a recreational person.
But shout out to Syracuse.
Syracuse, I'm going to hype it up the rest of this
You have to.
thing. So I do.
You have to. All your friends from Syracuse are going to see this and they're going to be like, dude, what the hell?
Yeah. But I honestly can't answer the why I moved question without throwing some shade on it, though, because it's just a fact. I mean, people that I'm close to and even colleagues of mine, they'll say, how's the new area? Like, I want to get out of Cuse and I'm looking. So where's a cool area? And man, I'm so new here. It's my 1 year anniversary since I got here.
When?
January 1st is when I signed my lease.
That's right.
So it's been 1 year, and I can tell anyone that, like, if you stay within an hour outside of the city, you'll get all the suburb vibes that you want, that you can ask for. Like, anything you want, you know? Tons of people our age. Kennesaw University is way bigger than I thought. I mean, you can go to any LA Fitness and you can meet people. I've met so many people already just from playing basketball there, and like, everyone's great. Also, everyone's from somewhere else, which is interesting. But when I visited, I didn't know any of this. Courtney didn't even know this. And it was only like 25% of her was like, I want to be near my family. Like, that wasn't even a thing to her, to be honest. And she'll admit it herself, is she went to college in Miami. So she's used to being away from them. And like, she was fine with that. Didn't care. We just wanted more sunshine. It's really all it is. To be completely honest, wanted more sunshine, she went to school in Miami. And I went and I visited her all the time. And when the hotel thing, I did that for a while. And when that came to an end for me, I took a month of no job, and I had a bunch saved and stuff. And I was like 21, and I was just like, you know what? I want to experience what she's experiencing. And it was right on the ocean. And I just went and visited her all the time. I would just book a one-way flight and be like, let me know when you want me going back. And the dorm situation there was so cool that I could just stay with her, and like there was no one else in there, and like it was big. It was cool. The university was so nice. The ocean's 5 minutes away. All of her friends were cool, and we hung out with all of them all the time. She was in a sorority, and she ended up being the president of her sorority.
Wow.
And
okay.
yeah, so
Did not know that.
Yeah, so we always had stuff to do because of that. I mean, keep in mind, it was a private college and didn't have like fraternity, sorority housing, so there
Sure.
wasn't like those big parties you hear about.
Right.
But it still had mixers at the beach and stuff, so their mixers were like just public things.
Yeah,
like
just beach parties.
Yeah, literally anywhere. It was just like, hey,
That sounds awesome, though.
Yeah, everyone from this place and this place are going to this public place, and we're all just going to hang out. So Miami was amazing, and we actually looked at places there, but it was just expensive, and at that time in our age, we weren't financially set for it. We ended up I got a job at Syracuse Airport, and it was cool. I mean, I really liked it, but I did a year in doing that, and then I found out I could transfer any airport. Let's go. So I started looking around. One of my best friends lived in Charlotte, and you hear great things about Charlotte. And I was like, let's do it. And he had a good situation where he was moving to somewhere else in a month and a half. So I said, okay, like, let me get on my feet there. I'm going to put in the transfer. And everything was great. Transfer was smooth. Everything was good. But what helps about moving is if you don't have the apartment lined up, I got to shop apartments, which is really cool. Like, I got all of my stuff to Charlotte, and then I was in his apartment for a couple weeks, got to pick exactly what apartment I wanted in my price range and everything like that, and near where I wanted to be near. I was 10 minutes outside of Uptown Charlotte, which is their downtown. And I loved our area, and it worked out great. Shout out to Mike for letting me stay with him and figuring out where I wanted to be, get on my feet. And then he was out, and then I got in my place. Courtney met me there. She left Miami and went to Charlotte, and I went from Syracuse down. So we literally met up there, and we moved in our place together. That was the first time we ever lived together. We'd been dating, I think, 3, maybe 4 years at the time. 3, I think. And yeah, and that was our first place together. Lot of great times. A lot of, learning about everything.
I didn't even know. I didn't even know this little piece of you. I didn't know you guys lived in Charlotte at all. Really?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. I think we might have even talked about this. When I was growing up, we moved to North Carolina at one point, and I lived in Winston-Salem, if you know where that's at.
I know of it.
That's outside of Raleigh.
Yes, Raleigh, the capital.
How far is Raleigh from Charlotte?
2.5, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
And I had a friend that lived there too, so we visited once. Raleigh's sweet. I mean, but both areas are really cool. Really big college areas. They have really cool areas. I could talk about Charlotte. It's very nice, but just for me, it didn't work out because of financial. So I didn't get my degree, right? And yes, she had hers, but she tried so many different jobs, and it never worked out, and she couldn't land anything even big enough to even consider. And I'm really fortunate. The airport paid me for New York. New York pays really well, almost everything. Minimum wage in New York has always been like $3-4 higher than any other state, always. And I made, I think, like $15 at the Syracuse airport, which at the time minimum wage was $9.50 in New York, which means like $7.25 everywhere else.
Right.
And everyone I worked with at Charlotte Airport made $7.25, and I was like
so they stayed paying you the New York rate?
My first day, they said, never speak a word of this to anyone. Like, don't tell anyone what you make. And I'm like, and they were like, because they all make $7.25.
You make double what these people make, essentially.
And I felt so bad because these guys were so great guys I worked in a warehouse with and stuff, and they they would leave their grocery stocking jobs that were overnight. They would work like 9 to 7 a.m. or something, stocking shelves at a grocery store. They'd leave that and go work an 8-hour shift with me in a warehouse in the morning. And this guy's like, yeah, even with both jobs, half my pay is, child support or whatever. And then I'm barely making ends meet. And I'm like, yeah, that sucks because they're both 7.25 jobs.
Right.
And
so he's making what you make in one job
yeah.
with two.
Dang. And I did my budgeting really well. That like everything I was saving while doing it. We were really smart. Everything was good. But for long term, settle down, buy a house somewhere, it just didn't make sense. I didn't love Charlotte. I mean, if we wanted to get like a nice apartment in downtown Charlotte, sure, we could have loved that, no doubt. But I wanted to be a homeowner. I really did. I just wanted to be like a homeowner. I was like, I just want a nice 4-bedroom house with a yard and some dogs. Like that was what I've always wanted.
It's the goal. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I didn't see it there. So loved it, lived it up. We were only there exactly 1 year. Did our lease, moved back to Syracuse. I had some family issues that I needed to attend to, help my parents, help, everyone. And so I was like, babe, can we go back to Cuse? Are you all right with that? Like, she's like, yeah, but as long as it's not forever. And I'm like, yeah, fair enough. Because got the job at UPS when I moved back. And then it was like, all right, we're here forever. And she was so cool about it, man. She didn't like hold it against me.
It. Didn't really.
Yeah, didn't hold it against me. Nothing. She was cool. And then never even like put stuff in my ear either. Never said anything. Never complained. And then just like, yeah, this job fell in my lap. And then she still didn't say anything when that happened. And then I would be the one to her, like, we're remote. We had an office there, whatever, but for the most part, it was COVID, right? So we were remote and we could go anywhere. Like, we could really pick what we wanted. Okay, well, your family lives in this area. Let's try it out. So to answer your question on, like, what was, like, a big thing there or whatever that made us move was, just too much weight on my shoulders. Like, it was so heavy. Like, I'd have to do so many things that, like, it's funny how I'm a spontaneous guy, but I don't like being like, hey, Corey, can you come do this right now? I don't like that. Like, I don't know if anyone does, but like, I don't like it. And like, it happened all the time. Like, big Italian family who's always like beefing and always like just has something going on. And I could always, I don't know if I'm just like the voice of reason in my family or what, because they're all hard-headed. And so I just was like the person you could call to help with whatever, whether it's physically or even emotionally.
Right.
That was a big thing. My brother always struggled with drugs and stuff, and he was never tight with our parents, and it's just me and him. And he always felt like the black sheep. But me and him, it's funny because we weren't tight growing up at all, because he's 6 years older than me. I always thought that was huge, and that's why. I always thought that's why. Come to find out, my fiance is one of two, and they're 6 years apart, and they're so tight. I don't know if it's boy, girl, because she has a brother and she's a girl. So maybe that's why they're tighter. Who knows? But yeah, man, we're 6 years apart, and we just weren't tight at all until I got to like 18. Then he started treating me like, oh, hey, you're kind of cool. And, still calls me bud and pal and all that, and buddy and little brother and all that and stuff. And so I'm not going to lie, sometimes it kind of gets to me it got to me from 18 to like 25. And then one day at like 25, 26, I had to tell him, like, at this age, 26, now I'm like, I have life experience, It's okay to ask for advice. Like, you can talk to me, because I know you're struggling with everything.
Yeah.
Addiction, sobriety, like whatever he was going through, financial, everything. I was like, man, I got some life under me now. You can talk to me. But we didn't get close until I was like 21. So he just never really knew when to like ask, and he still kind of doesn't. But I always remind him, like, I actually just sent him a text today, like, call me, dude. Like, I got you. Like, you're going through it. And I know, because I just got back from Syracuse for Christmas. I was just there for the holidays, and he wasn't doing too well. And a lot of people actually in my family aren't right now, but just trying to put them all together, man. Like, one big thing when I was home, my mom is one of 5. Their siblings are all going through it right now. And it's so silly. It's so dumb. Like, if I get mad at you, I'm only mad at you for a couple weeks at
Maybe.
most. And then I'll tell you like, hey, Logan, I didn't really like that thing you did or whatever. And then like I'd expect you to just be like, yo, my bad. Like it doesn't have to be like this crazy sincere apology, but just like, yo, that's my bad. I didn't know, that bothered you.
Yeah.
And then we're good. Like, and if I don't shoot you that text that something bothered me, that's on me.
Right.
And I just think so many relationships, friends of anything, family, they don't talk about it.
It's like we were saying the other night, you don't know what you don't know. So if you're pissed at me and I don't know it, that's not my fault. Yeah, I might have done a bad thing, but ultimately, if you didn't be like, hey, that kind of didn't sit right with me, I would have never known, and I would just keep doing it unless you called me out. Like the example you used the other night about like my Asian friend or Asian Corey, and it was like, hey, bud, if I don't ever say anything, he's just gonna keep doing it forever.
Yeah, and he was so quick to call it out. He's just like, that kind of bothers me.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, and if you don't apologize, you're just a dick.
Yeah, right. And it's like from there, I feel like most people, and I can relate to your mom being one of a few siblings because my mom and dad both have 5-6 siblings each. And it seems like, and all families are like this. So this isn't, of course, casting, what do you call it? Throwing shade on my family or anything, but sometimes it feels like they hang on to it for a while, even though it's like, hey, I'm sorry, didn't mean it. Are we okay? And I feel like a lot of people truly aren't okay after it. And like, that's fine. Like a few months ago, like I still think about it to this day. I got into a really bad argument with my little sister and I was screaming things at her that I wish to this day I was not screaming at her. She said really mean things to me. I think about it almost every single day. And I almost sometimes, and she doesn't talk about it, but I almost sent her a text the other day and said, hey, I still think about what I said and I'm sorry. But
I mean, you don't know how much that feels good to her, I'm sure, because you're not her, but I'm telling you that's huge. And that just shows a lot of character in you too. You're right, man. People just you don't know what you don't know. And then it's almost like they're the person at fault because they didn't talk about what bothered them.
right.
And then, there's things to it, of course, like maybe they don't want that relationship anymore anyway. Like if it's just a friend that's like, maybe I've outgrown you. So that's just another thing. I can understand how that's, a common thing as well. We've all probably had friends where like, yeah, they did a thing that's annoying to you. And yes, they could probably change it or apologize. But at this point, I don't know, man. This could be the thing that I could utilize to just stop
Just
this
not being
friendship.
your friend. Yeah.
I'm sure that's a thing in people's lives too. So
Do you ever, we know each other minimally at this point. And actually not minimally, more than minimally at this point, but I'm the kind of guy that I like to be friends with everybody. And I kind of see that in you. You're very social. You get along with anybody. Anytime I've been in a social situation with people that haven't met you before, consistently everyone's like, Corey and Courtney, they're cool. Like, have them around, bring them back, invite them. Even my parents that met you guys for like 30 minutes at my Christmas party, my dad was like, those guys were really cool. And it was like, yeah, you're super duper social. So that's really neat.
I had a friend growing up who I can vividly feel and see how they first met me. And it was like an out-of-body experience where they were just so stare into your eyes, shake your hand. It's so nice to meet you. And I just took that. Yeah. Also, my parents, like one great quality about them is they're really social. So I try to be that way too. Courtney is not as much. She'll admit that I'm like the more outgoing person, but I think, you grow on each other and you pick up each other's qualities, and
Sure.
she's more outgoing nowadays than she was if we were to meet you back in the day. So, try to always be better is the goal anyway. But yeah, you only get one shot at a good first impression. I think first impression is huge because, if I meet you good and then I'm just like not having a good day, our next 2-3 hangouts, I think that first impression carries those over. It doesn't matter as much because, like, I mean, as long as I'm not being shitty.
Right.
Shitty person, you got to do some apologizing. But yeah, no, if you're just not as social a couple times, that first impression, you better hope it was good. That's all. I mean,
Right.
a good handshake, a good look in the eye, a good how are you, and actually mean it, stuff like that. Like,
Right.
I just think it's huge. Like, I can't wait to have kids and instill that in them. It's
Right.
so cool, man.
Dude,
to
there's
like,
so many qualities I can't wait to just teach
yes.
somebody, whether it's my son or a daughter or whatever. Like, I just can't wait to just be like, this is the way that you should treat people, and they will always treat you with respect. Like, people will always look at you and think, or people will see your name on a piece of paper at your company, whether it's like big wigs thinking about promotions or whatever, and they're going to be like, yeah, that person's always respectful. They're always nice. And my parents did that for me. Luckily, I was lucky in having a really great set of parents as role models and people to look up to and people to learn from. And even my siblings that are younger than me, I still look at them and see qualities that I don't even have that I like and wish I had and learn from them.
I gotta ask you though, like, because well, first off about the moving around thing, like I'm so intrigued by your moving around thing. Like,
Yeah.
I do want to talk. We've never talked about that because I
Sure.
just found out from Jordan recently that I asked if you went to the local high school here. He said no. He was like Arizona or something.
I graduated high school actually up in Virginia, probably about 30 minutes outside of DC. So that's why when I was talking about Baltimore, like I've been to Baltimore a few times. Like I went to I think I went to a Ravens game at one point when they played the Redskins at the time.
Let's go.
Commanders, whatever.
HTTR.
And that's when I think I told you the story about how I met Robert Griffin III at the grocery store that I worked at, because him and his wife would shop there because we were right there in Virginia. And I mean, they were there, man. I mean, they were around town, and we'd see them at a restaurant or see them at the grocery store, and it was cool because people were just like, "Oh, hey, that's RG3 over there," and it would be like, "Oh, you mean the guy who?" And at the time, like, he was the guy that was on the front page of all sports magazines, and just like, this guy's the future, this guy's the next whoever, and just seeing him like pick up a box of Captain Crunch was just hilarious, and just like, oh, famous people they're just like us.
That's really
they love
cool.
Pop-Tarts just like you and me.
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah.
What's your favorite Pop-Tart? I gotta swoop in and say it's brown sugar cinnamon for me.
That is a OG one. I would have to say the cookie dough.
Okay, I respect it.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I mean, moving around, it was. What do you want to know about it?
I'm just so intrigued, man, because like you know, I love my childhood. My upbringing was cool. Being in one place, having a ton of friends and sports and all that, it's amazing. But there's the other side of the coin that you don't know about, and that's what you had, the moving around, meeting new people. So I have one aunt in San Diego, and she used to always, Corey, come out here and go to school here. And I'm like, West Coast, warm weather. I want to.
Right.
Never did it, obviously, but I would love to. And yeah, just the idea of moving around, because like you said, social person, I wanted to meet people. I thought it'd be cool, and I'm a big sports guy, so I always thought it'd fit in somewhere, and I just never got to do it. So I think you're the first person I met that moved around and like that I actually get to talk to about this. This is so cool.
Yeah, I moved. I think collectively, sometimes I mix up the count, but I think since the time I was born till today, I've moved with my family. I mean, I've lived in a couple apartments here locally myself, but I don't really count those because it's all within the same, zip code, couple zip codes. But I moved, I think 9, 10, 11 times to different homes. I was born in Illinois, the great state of Illinois.
What city?
Champaign.
That's a cool
It's
one.
right where the University of Illinois is.
All right.
The Fighting Illini.
Can you do them in order?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to think about. Went from Illinois to Georgia. Actually, lived in Kennesaw, a house that's probably 2 miles from where my parents actually live now. Funny enough, lived there for a few years. Relocated to North Carolina, and that's when we went to Winston-Salem. Then we went up to Virginia, and then we were there for like 3 months because something happened and my dad got switched around, and we weren't even done unpacking boxes, and he was like, hey, we got to actually go to Charleston. So we went to South Carolina, lived in Charleston for a few years, then went from Charleston to Phoenix, Arizona, spent a few years there, and then from Phoenix bounced over to Oklahoma City, spent 8th, 9th, and 10th grade in Oklahoma City, moved over to Virginia for 11th and 12th grade, and then after I graduated high school, moved out here.
Oklahoma City for like the biggest years of your life, I'd say. At least for me, 8th, ninth, and 10th grade.
Mm-hmm.
Those were like what made you, what changed you, what formed you, in my opinion.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I learned a lot about myself living there. I also learned
Not a great city, right? To be
no, not a
Well,
great city.
Also,
No.
like I think it'd be worse to be an adult in those cities because they always say that's not a good going out city.
No, it's not. Oklahoma City is quite scary. In fact, if you're not with somebody, you're looking over your shoulder. It's not a great place. I mean, the only thing that Oklahoma City has it going for it was the Thunder at the time, and that's when when I lived there, it's when James Harden and Westbrook and Kevin Durant all played, Serge Ibaka all played at the same time, and it was
Should've
like
won a championship.
Oh yeah, it should have won. They were
Blew a 3-1 lead.
You know, right? They Oklahoma didn't have NFL, so everybody, of course, gravitated to Thunder. And then people had their allegiances for OU or OSU, Oklahoma State or whatever the other one, Oklahoma State University, whatever. But I learned a lot about myself in Oklahoma. I remember trying so hard to get these kids to like me in school, because they were, I don't want to say they were bad boys, but I mean, they were the kind that you go over to their house for a sleepover. I don't know what to call it. Call it what it is. It was sleepovers when you'd go to your buddies' houses. What do you call that when you're in
100%
8th grade,
sleepover.
9th grade? It's a sleepover.
Yes.
As dumb and as weird as it sounds, I mean, yeah, it's a sleepover. When you go to your buddy's house for a sleepover, instead of just playing video games all night, we were going out and ding-dong ditching and shitting on people's driveways, and I'm just kidding, not that part, but
Burning bag of shit.
burning bag of shit. Did that one time actually.
Don't use your boots, Ted.
Not my shit, someone else's shit, but I was there and watched it happen, and it just hilarious stuff. But that was the kind of group they were, and they were always, trying to sneak liquor out of their parents' liquor cabinets, and I just at the time, all I wanted to do was go to my buddy's house and play Call of Duty until 2 a.m. That's all. That was the kind of guy I was. But I thought these guys were so fun. They're class clowns, all of them. So when you were talking about how in school you were a rule follower to a T, you weren't disrespectful, I was so disrespectful. But it was only because I had a few of these guys in each of my classes. I was trying so hard to get their approval. And I think a piece of that stems off of the fact that I moved so much that I had to start over and make new friends 10, 11 times. So in this particular instance, I was like, these are the kind of kids I want to hang out with this time. Because it was also kind of comforting to know that in a few years, I'll be out of here. And whether I like it or not, I'm going with my parents because I'm 15. I'm not going to stay here. What am I going to do? So I decided I'm going to be a bad boy for these few years, and I did a lot of stupid things, and I have some great stories.
Well, to that point, like knowing you move around a lot and you knew there was going to be another city coming up, that would almost give you more of a reason to be a bad boy in the city, because it's like it could be a phase. It could be an easy
and it was
cop-out.
nice too, because if there was a period of time where this is also going to show that I didn't grow up in a time where, or I grew up in a time and went to middle school in a time where it was okay to say this about people, and everybody said it every day. But there was a rumor that went around school at one point that I was gay. And at the time, everyone called each other certain words and phrases and stuff. And that's just what it was at the time. And obviously that's not appropriate anymore. But this rumor went around school that I was gay, and it was the last year. I knew we were going to move in about a year and a half or so, and I told myself, I was like, well, if I'm a loser, because at the time, if you were gay, you were a loser. Like, people thought you were at least in that city, people viewed you as an outcast. They didn't want you around. So
it wasn't as easy to be.
No. Being gay
anything.
Today, obviously I'm not gay, so I can't speak to this, but I would just assume that being gay today is easier than it would have been 15 years ago.
I'd have to agree. I mean, I think it'd be crazy to not agree with that.
But either way, I was like, okay, well, I remember telling myself one night, like, as I'm honestly probably crying, thinking like nobody at school wants to be around me because they all think I'm gay. Even my close friends, these guys that were bad boys, were like, are you gay? You can just tell us. And they were really cool because they were like, if you're gay, just tell us. It's okay. And I was like, no, I'm not gay. And it just went around the whole school, and it was this big rumor mill and as a thing. And I remember crying one night and thinking, well, at least I got a year and a half and we'll move, and it's a fresh start. I could be whoever I want to be each time I move. And I remember, have you ever seen 21 Jump Street?
Oh yeah.
Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum. I remember walking into high school, junior year, first day in Virginia when, we had moved that summer before junior year. And there's that joke in 21 Jump Street where they walk into their high school for the first time and they're looking around seeing if people are doing 2 straps with the backpack, 1 strap with the backpack. And I remember my parents dropping me off and being like, see if everyone's 2 strapping, see if everyone's 1 strapping. Just see what everyone does. And in Virginia, everybody 2 straps. In Oklahoma City, everybody 1 strapped. So it's crazy that I was just desperate for acceptance. But yeah, Oklahoma City taught me a lot of stuff about myself.
My first job was at the movie theater at Regal. Oh yeah, we worked at a
we
Regal
did.
together.
Yes.
Yeah, and 21 Jump Street came out when I worked there. So
Yes.
But I love that movie. Yeah, and it's funny. I never actually saw the 1 strap. So I remember when I heard that joke in the beginning, I was like, never seen 1 strap, but okay. What siblings do you have? Are you the oldest of?
I am the oldest of 3. So I've got a brother who's 20. He's 4 years younger than me, 23, 22. He lives in Ohio, Columbus, Ohio. And my sister is 21. She lives in Illinois right now because that's where she's finishing school up. And then she's actually probably, when she graduates, her boyfriend lives on Lake Norman in North Carolina.
Oh, yeah.
And he owns a boat detailing business. And she'll very likely move to Charlotte-ish area, that area.
Not even 30 minutes north is Lake Norman. It's right there.
Yeah, she'll probably move out there when she graduates and start their life there in North Carolina. But yeah.
So 5 years in between you and your second kid?
Yes, me and Cameron are... She's 21, I'm 27, almost 28. So about 6-ish years.
Okay. So a little gap,
6, 7 years.
And the first kid's always the guinea pig too. So like you're just figuring it out. I had my brother like, don't do that. So.
Right. Whereas I was that guy, and growing up, I was the jealous sibling. Whereas like your brother was probably jealous of your parents being less lenient on you on certain things. Whereas I had the curfew, be home at 9:30, where my brother and sister were like, do whatever the hell you want.
My brother thought I was the favorite, the golden child, the like they love me more because of like being the youngest and gave me more time and this and that. It's like it sucks that he felt that way because it's honestly just that I acted accordingly. Like I acted good, so I guess was rewarded good.
I used to think I was the favorite, but I've accepted that that's my sister. My sister's the favorite easily. I mean, she's the only girl. Her and dad since daddy-daughter type thing. Her and my dad have always had this bond. She's the favorite. That's okay. I'm probably the second favorite. No offense, no shade to Griffin. I don't know, man. If I was my parents, it'd be tough to pick a favorite because we're all so cool in our own ways. I mean, my brother has the thing that my dad always wanted in a son. Not to say that I'd disappointed him in any way, but my brother is the car guy, the sports guy, loves all that shit. My dad can talk about, and my brother's in construction also, works for the same company. So they have that whole thing. The only thing me and my dad ever bonded about was video games. My dad was the one who hooked up a PS1 in front of me for the first time, and I have him to thank for the fact that I have a PlayStation 5, because if I had never played video games with him, I don't know if I ever would have. So my siblings are, and they were always athletes. My siblings were athletes, or are athletes. And
did you try, or did you just weren't a?
Oh, I tried everything, man. Kind of like how you were talking about, like you had like a different sport every night. I tried across all these different moves. I did soccer. I did t-ball. I did golf, which I'm still, trying to get back into now. I swam. I was the slowest of the 3 of us, so that didn't work out very long. And it just got to the point where swimming was the last sport I played. And it got to the point where it was like, I'm not good enough to play in high school, so I'm not going to go and join some club or something. Whereas my brother and sister were both good enough to be in a club outside of school, but also swim for their school. And they both swim for their school, and they both got scholarships for swimming. So I was just never an athlete, and that's why even like to this day, like you guys got to drag me out of the house to go play golf, because it's like, God, I'd rather not. I'd really not. But I love the camaraderie. I love the time with the boys. I love, even if I suck balls at golf, at least I get to drink with my buddies for 4 hours.
That's the beauty in golf. At least you're outside. At least there's alcohol involved, and at least you get to hang out.
Smoke a cigar. You can, usually someone wants to get a drink after you play. I mean, it's the camaraderie for me. I mean, yeah, I'd rather spend $50 to do something else, but I mean,
yeah.
yeah.
No, I get you. I went to a huge high school, and what's a bummer is that both my parents grew up in like the similar area and went to the smaller high schools.
Yeah.
Now my fiance, same thing, 10, 15 minutes away from where I lived, but went to a tiny high school. Her graduating class was 97 people.
Who? Your mother?
Courtney.
Courtney.
My fiance, yeah. Her graduating class was 97 people. Mine was 950 people.
Yeah, mine was around 650.
Yeah, and so my high school was so big, and I played every sport growing up, and then I stuck to like, you kind of have to stick to like 3 when you're 16ish,
right?
Because you can't play multi.
They kind of phase them out, and you just prioritize on like the big 3, or big 2.
And it's just a bummer looking back. I wish I did swimming. I wish I did track. I wish I did, but like to those sports, you have to be a scorer. I imagine. I know with track, I don't know swimming as much, but like, there's probably 20 people extra on these teams that go to the meets and they participate, but they're not scorers. Like they're not going up against the other school's best people. So you don't really matter. And to me, that wasn't appealing.
Right.
But now looking back, I'm like, I would have just loved to be there with the team and do it.
Right. That's a really good thing I'd never even thought of. Like when you play football, or baseball or whatever.
You're going to see the field.
You are seeing the field.
And
you're
matter.
a part of something.
Yeah.
You have a job.
Your time you touch the ball matters.
Right. Whereas with swimming, track, golf, even tennis, you are trying to beat everybody around you. It's kind of like the sales thing. Your objective is to be better. Like, yeah, you and all your buddies might play golf, but secretly you are striving to be better than all of them.
And if you fall in the middle of the pack, I don't want to say don't matter, but you kind of don't matter. Like I always think of track because we had track at my huge high school, they took anyone who wanted to.
Yeah, I joined track.
Yeah, there'd be like 100 plus kids on the team, and like so many, and they're like most of them are in the meets, right? And you don't matter.
You forget about them.
Yes, it's like the scorers go, you look at the times that places, and then the rest will go, but like you don't even.
Yeah, you might see the top 3 people, but no one's looking at 4 through 10.
Right. Like in my race, I won, but like you went against the lower tier kids in their school. Right. So it just, the competitor in me and the wanting to be the best I was like, well, I know I'm pretty fast, but I'm not as fast as the kids on the football team that are also doing track because it's their off season. So they're going to be the scorers and the sprinters. So, and I wasn't long distance. So I knew I didn't fall in any of those. So I was like, yeah, I could sprint and be decent, but I'm not going to be a scorer, and it just didn't appeal to me at the time. But going back, I wish I did it for the camaraderie, man. My friend that was on the track team says he still talks to all those guys to this day. He was in their wedding and all that cool stuff.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. So with the brother and sister thing, I mean, we have the other side of the coin on a few things. You're the oldest and I'm the youngest, and then you moved around a lot, and I stayed in one area my whole childhood, my whole life.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I was thinking about that. I was actually talking to somebody about this today. I don't remember shit at all.
I have a good memory. I remember everything.
Well, I have a very, very poor memory. I remember faces and I remember people, but in terms, if you were like, what was, I think the farthest back I remember is 6th grade. Anything before that? Nothing.
Really?
Nothing.
I was actually just talking to a buddy of mine where we were like, name every teacher you've ever had.
Oh God, I can't.
I was like 90%. I was pretty good.
Really?
I can remember like all of them.
Seriously. Almost. I do remember my 5th
High
grade
school's
teacher.
tough because then you had stupid
Tahara.
bullshit classes. Yeah.
Tahara was weird because his name was spelled Tejera, and I said Mr. Tajera, and it's Tahara. I do remember that he was my 5th grade teacher, but then I remember 6th grade so well because my teacher, he was like 25. Looking back, like he was so young,
but he was probably the only one you had like that. Like I think we talked about this once before, that our teachers were all old. If you had a young one, it stood out. Like I remember like the 2 young teachers I had, and they were like 32.
Right.
So, but now, right now, 2023, about 2024, you see 21-year-olds that
Yeah.
we know that
They're
are
teachers.
teaching like 9th grade, 10th grade. And it's
Right.
like, you're the same age almost
Yeah.
as those
It
kids
is
you're
crazy.
teaching.
I actually saw this TikTok this morning that was actually really funny that someone had sent me, and it was this guy, and he was like, I am 30 years old. He was like, am I at this point in my life, my parents, when they were 30 years old, like raising me? He was like, I am 30 years old. I am an adult. Am I the person that my kids would look up to when my parents went to somebody's house party and it was their adult friends and I had to go play with the other kids? He's like, I am an adult. My teachers were adults. I am now the age of most of my teachers. He was like, that is such a crazy thing to grasp. I don't know if you and Court have ever sat here. There was a night a few weeks ago that me and Catherine were sitting right here. We were watching TV, and I paused the show and I just looked over at her and I was like, we're like functioning members of society now. Like, you go from riding a school bus every day, submitting tests, homework, whatever, to just contributing to the economy. Like, you teach the youth of our country. I work in finance. I was like, we're just, and we're married now. We do the whole, honey, I'm home. Like, dinner's ready when I get home. We do laundry on the weekends. We are like our friend group. We're like the friends. We're like Jennifer Aniston and Ross. We're besides the fact that we're all with our respective people, but like, we have that relationship. We are in that place. And that's such a weird concept to grasp. Because when you're a kid, you're like, those are adults. They're big people. Whereas most of the time, I mean, my parents had me when they were in their younger 20s. I am the same. I am older now than my dad was when they had me.
Yeah.
Which is insane to think about.
Yeah. My mom got married at 17. She had to have her dad sign off on it.
Really?
Yep. And then she had my brother at 19. And then 6 years later had me, but still that makes her 25.
So how's your mom right now?
54.
Okay.
53, 54.
So your mom is around, my parents are 54, 53.
Yeah. And I have plenty of friends who their parents were teen moms and stuff. So, but just in general, even if they weren't like teen moms, they were 25 and younger typically. And yeah, I'm 28, turning 29 in a month and a half, and we're just now starting to talk about kids. And it's crazy because you feel, and when you look at it that way, you start feeling like, however that your day is that day, you look at it like, oh, failure, like, oh, this, oh, that, you're late, you're delayed. It's however you're looking at it, but it is super weird when you put it that way. The fact that our 10-year reunion from graduation just happened, like mine.
Did you go?
Like, no, we didn't have one, I don't think. And yeah, mine would be like last year because I was 2013. It's just insane, man. And the fact that I'm turning 30 in a year and a month, it's just crazy. And I have a lot of cousins, and I'm one of the youngest, second to youngest grandkid. And the youngest grandkid and I were just talking about how it's insane how we're the age of like the older cousins that we used to always think were old.
Right.
Yeah. My successful cousin's a lawyer, and she like graduated college to become a lawyer at like 26 or whatever. And we used to always like think about her age like that. And now we're like past that. It's like insane how old we are. But I was just talking to a good friend about this, that I don't feel old. Like, I feel 22. I really do. I mean, recovery, not so much. If you have a night out or working out and stuff, I don't recover as well as I used to, but mentally I feel 22.
Yeah.
Like, really do.
I'm just now hitting the point where I get hangovers.
Me
For
too.
the first, several years of my 20s, which is also a really weird sentence to say out loud. Like, oh yeah, early in my 20s. That sounds such like an old person thing to say.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
You should hear me at work, dude. When I'm talking to kids, like 18-year-olds, 17-year-olds, about like saving their money and stuff, I always preface it and I say, listen, I'm about to sound like your dad right now, but like save your money, yada yada this, yada yada that, spend the credit card wisely, do this, do that, blah blah blah. I always get done with those conversations and I'm like, I probably sound like a boring old man. Like people probably see me, they see the beard, they're probably like, that's just some old lame dude. Like, do you think like if you and I, without it being weird, walked into a middle school right now, they'd look at us and be like, what are these losers doing here?
Yeah, I always think if I went back to my high school
Right.
to say hi to my teachers, I would get that look or something.
Right. The kids would be like, who's this lame ass?
I
like,
actually feel like I'm in this limbo middle age where I don't know if I think I'm the old guy, who's this old dude or something, because I don't know. I don't think I look old either. So I don't know where I fall. Like when you said about like you walk into a middle school, I don't know what they would think because my niece thinks I'm young and Courtney's niece thinks I'm young. So I guess that means I look young, but I also know I don't look 18 or like I just graduated either. Right. So I don't know like what a teenager would think I look like.
You know what's an amazing thing to hear? So as you know, we just took this big family trip to Disney. And I have some of my dad's younger sisters have kids that are, I think one of them's 3, one of them's 5, and one of them's 11 or 7 and 11. They're younger than 10. And I have a couple that one of them is 18. She just graduated high school. And then I have one that's 15. And I was talking to their parents and I was just we were just shooting the shit. And I was just like, one of them, I had particularly been hanging out this whole vacation with my cousin that is 15. His name's Nolan. And, you know, my whole life, he's just been this like little kid, but now he went through this growth spurt. He's like an athlete. He's a bro. He's a really cool dude. And my aunt was just like, thanks so much for hanging out with Nolan this whole time. Like, I'm sure he's felt real cool hanging out with like the older cousin. And I was like, is that how they think about me? Like the cool older cousin? She was like, oh, you have no idea. They look at you, your younger cousins, and they think like he's so cool. And after I walked away from that conversation, I was like, that feels so cool to hear. Like to hear that, like my siblings obviously don't feel that way because like I'm their brother or whatever. But like hearing from somebody that's either 18 or 15 or 11 that's like, I want to hang out with Logan because we think he's cool. Like, that's cool to hear.
Yeah, I think she nailed it. I mean, I thought that about my older cousins.
Right, I did too.
I wanted to hang out with them all the time. I think there was like 4 or 5 of them that were all within a year or two.
Right.
And like
you'd have the adults table and then the older cousins table and then the younger cousins table. I didn't even want to be at the adults table. I wanted to be with my older cousins.
Yeah.
And now I'm buddies with my older cousins and it feels like I made it.
Yeah. Just I circled this earlier and I didn't finish it. Was my aunts and uncles, my mom's siblings, like they're all going through this stupid grudge that they're not talking, and we as cousins said, let's do it, let's get them together, and it didn't work because of scheduling, but my grandma was really like depressed over it that they weren't all talking. Like, I mean, if your kids aren't talking, that's
right. It's got to be horrible.
Exactly. So we said, let's just cheer grandma up. So this is a really cool story. I went to my cousin's like, hey, let's just show up there. Every party used to be at my grandma's. Big Italian family at her house. And whether it was just Sunday dinners was a normal thing for us Italians and everything. Always pasta on Sundays going over there. And then every holiday, of course. And then COVID honestly just fucked everything up. We stopped going over there, and then she also hit an age where she didn't want to host as much, and then just everyone started doing their own thing, and my family's never recovered, never been the same. But I said, okay, I'm in town from out of town, and let me say, Grandma, I'm gonna come over and see you. I'm gonna bring pizza and wings over. We're gonna go over there and see you. Okay, Corey, is it just you and Courtney? Yeah, just us, and my brother will come, and that'll be it. We get there, and I told all my cousins, like 10 of them, show up. I'm here now. And I bought like 5 pizzas and like 48 wings, and I brought in 1 pizza and like 1 little sleeve of wings, showing like, hey, just here for dinner. Everything looked good. And then I'm like trying to keep us just talking, and she's like, why aren't we eating yet? And I'm like, oh, I told her one cousin, the youngest, Marie. I was like, Marie's coming, so once she gets here, we'll eat. And then she shows up and we're just talking about how's life. She lives in New York City in Manhattan. So she like was talking about that. I was talking about my life. And then perfect timing, you know, a couple cousins start rolling in and they all just came in like the floodgates were open.
Yeah.
It was so cool, man. My grandma, she
Probably
was
the
just,
happiest she's been
you
in
should have
years.
saw her face though. Like at first glances, like dropped her jaw, her eyes, everything is just like, what are you guys doing here? And then it was like,
We're just here to be with you.
yes. And then she was happy. And then, but it was so funny because she's got to change everything. And she had a knee replacement surgery and she's like, doesn't move around that well. And she's just like trying to get everything. I got to go get chairs out of the basement. You know,
Grandma,
one of those big,
stay sitting down. We got it.
exactly. You know, the big dining room tables that you pull out and you go grab the inserts out of the back closet to go put them in there.
For sure.
We got to go do that. We got to do this and that. I go back to the car and I get the rest of the food. She's like, you motherfucker, you know? And I was like, Grandma, we're doing this. And it was amazing, man. We were just all reminiscing, talking. She had a smile on her face the whole time. We didn't leave her house till 11.
Wow.
And she didn't even kick us out or anything. And like we were, all of us were tired. So we just started rolling out when we were tired. And she was doing most of the talking the like last hour. She loved it.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And so we got to cheer her up, especially since the holidays were a little rough on her. And
You guys have no idea. I mean, maybe you do. You guys have no idea how happy that made her and how special that was for her. That was incredible.
We
that you guys
honestly
did that.
because it was vocal on how depressing things have been lately. Like huge family and she has a bunch of kids and that no one really like called her on Thanksgiving to invite her to that. And that was the first time in her life. And so Christmas, she first time in her life, no Christmas tree. No presents, no tree, no nothing. I'm not doing shit. Fuck you all type of deal, you know? And I heard that through the grapevine and I'm just like, all right, well, that's so not right for her. So we got to cheer her up. So I'm so glad we got to make that happen. And, you know, the fucking, the siblings, they'll figure their shit out. That's kind of like what we said. Like we were making jokes all night about they, just because they're messing up and holding stupid grudges.
Doesn't
like,
mean we have to.
Exactly. And we're all going to stay tight. And I think it, like, that's the thing is when your family tree talks, that's just happiness in itself. Like I told her, like, my cousins, like, didn't understand, my younger cousin. And I was just like, it's just when your kids don't talk, that's got to be seriously sad. And so, yeah, so us being tight made her so much happier. And I think she caught the gist too. Like, yeah, they're grown-ups. They'll figure it out. It just takes too long. Like, it's literally, they'll hold it for like 2 years and not talk.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
And I'm like, what are you doing? Like,
right.
If
that's your sibling.
I don't go that long, man. I'll go like a month tops with if someone I care about and want to keep that with whoever. And I'll reach out. I'll make it work, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I'll even shoot the desperation text. Like, if I did something, tell me. If let's just get together. Come on. Like, what? You know, so it's in a great place. I felt like I you know, got the family back together, man.
That's
like,
awesome.
I was
dude.
like, this is when I was only there for like 3-4 days. I was like, this is one of those days. I'm doing this. Like, we're making it happen. Coordinate it with 1 or 2 of them, and then they invited the rest of them. So super happy I could make that happen for all of us. And family thing has been, you know, really, really tough lately for all of us and myself. So I was just so stoked. Like, I came back here really happy that happened.
Sure.
And yeah, I mean, just stepping stones. But it sucks because the second I get back here, I hear, you know, more things not going great. It's just like, man, like, can't you guys do it yourself? Like,
figure it out.
I'm like, Corey doesn't have to be the freaking glue.
Right.
Like, you guys can figure it out.
Right.
Like, I don't got to get everyone together. Because it's honestly, that's how it went. Like, when I was home, I went to lunch with my mom and brother. And they've never done lunch, them two. So I had to bring us together. My dad and my mom, like, they've been divorced 10 years almost, and like they're finally talking now too. And they went to dinner with me for
that's
something.
nice.
Yeah, it was the first time we've done that since I was a kid.
Wow.
So
That's amazing.
There's stuff like that like I'm really happy I could be a part of. But the other big chunk of it is I just wish they could do it themselves too. But
Sure.
you know, things will happen.
You don't have to answer this if you don't want to. Was your parents' divorce nasty?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah. And I think it fucked my brother up because he saw a lot more than I did.
You think that led to a lot of his problems? Or do you think that was coming in regardless?
So he was a horrible student, hated school, really, really bad ADHD. So like part of it wasn't even his fault. He couldn't pay attention to me if he wanted to.
Sure.
And then he you know, he's 6 years older. He saw a lot more than I did, so I can't speak on it, but I do think that fucked him up.
Sure.
And then he also had a bad friend group. So the years that form you,
Yeah.
10 through 18, he had bad friend group that got into drugs and just, you know, drinking at 14 and stuff. I think that stuff, like, it's tough. I mean, cigarettes and beer at like adolescence is like, that'll get you. I mean, sure, you can turn it around. I have some friends that like say that they did that too. But anyways, yeah, he definitely, the friend group, I think, was the biggest thing. Like, I was so, and he was into sports growing up like I was, but he fell out early and I kept with it. So I think, like, I'm going to raise my kids to do sports like all the time, because it just, the camaraderie, man, the team is only as strong as your weakest link. You want to be as good for your teammates. You don't want to drop the game losing ball. There's just so much about sports that I love, and the competitiveness, it makes you want to be good at your job when you're older. Like, I just love sports, man. I think it saved my life type deal.
Really?
Yeah, man. I mean, I love sports. It's just, it really helped me be the person I am today. And me and Court, and I always knew I wanted to be with an athlete. And she was an athlete. I met her.
What'd she play?
Yeah, so I'll hit our background real quick. She's a basketball player, tall girl. You know how girls grow quicker than guys.
Oh yeah.
She was a tall girl, beautiful, like, just should have been a model. I have no idea why not, but freaking beautiful. And she played basketball. She's like, her name is like in the rafters, like
really
most blocks, like
amazing
swatter,
record holder.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
And she was a really, really good basketball player. Was on varsity in like 7th, 8th grade or something.
Wow.
Yeah, because she was tall and everything. And
so she can shoot hoops.
well, yeah, and that's the thing too. It's not just a center where they teach you just to stand in the paint. Like, she can shoot. Like, we go to the gym now and she just drains shots. She still got it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and so she was really good hooper. So long story short, my friend Connor and I got really close through middle school basketball at St. Margaret's Church, and played CYO basketball growing up and everything. And we got really tight. I hung out at his house all the time, and he had a cousin who's Courtney, and his first cousin. And I was just like, and Connor has a little brother that they had like 10 years after him. So big accident. Whoops. Had a little kid. And so we're all like 15. Wow. We're all like 15. His youngest brother's turning like 3 years old. I remember his second birthday party, and I'm over there, and he's big Italian family. And I was just like, you know, the more the merrier, like lasagna, ziti, and all the rest, always there. And so we're all going over there, and I'm like, Connor's your cousin going to be there? Like, because, you know, this is MySpace, early Facebook era. And I'm like, your cousin, man. I told him when we were in like 6th grade, I'm going to marry your cousin.
Really?
I did. Like, everyone knows. And like, Courtney still to this day will show me, she has a ton of the screenshots of me, like, calling her beautiful. And like I said, I love you in like 10th grade to her on her Facebook wall. Like, I was like all about her. Like, I had a crush on her my entire life. And I was always looking forward to her being at Connor's family's parties, and she would be, and then it would be that awkward, like, I'm gonna sit next to her but not talk to her,
right? Yeah.
You know, that whole thing. And
she was adorable.
She was my first date.
Wow.
We both got dropped off to see the Lorax in movie theater when that came out, and we touched hands like once during the whole movie. Like, that was it. Like, just all right, cool movie, all right, see ya. Our parents dropped us off and picked us up, and like, that was it. And so a year after that, I had an all guys basketball rented out a gym birthday party for me. Okay. And had 35 guys, and then I invited her. She was the only girl there.
She come?
Yep, she showed up. The funniest part of the story is, and I still have the picture, I actually have a big picture, I framed it, of everyone that was there. She's wearing jeans, and to this day, it's so funny. We laugh so hard about how I didn't tell her it was a basketball party, but I told her where it was, and she knew what it was.
Right.
I mean, the place, to be fair, is an athletic club that has multiple different places inside of it. So it's so funny. She just like had a sweatshirt and like jeans and stuff. And,
that's hilarious.
Yeah, and so I mean, she hooped in the jeans. Luckily,
but she still killed it.
She wore sneakers. It wasn't like sandals or something weird.
Yeah.
She, you know, wasn't a tomboy, but wasn't girly either though. So she just was in the middle, and she was all about it. She hooped, and we had a great time. And Yeah, just like I abandoned my party to go say bye to her, walk down the stairs, stand
Hell
by there, like debating on kissing her and all that.
Of
Like,
course.
yeah, that whole thing. And then she leaves, and then we kept in contact and everything. And then the biggest part, years later, we both had long relationships in between. Like we were long relationship people. Never were like single for a long time, either of us, and we were never in and out of relationships. Like she had a long one, I had a long one, that type of deal. And when both of ours ended, still we've been friends forever. And so she's in college doing like her first year in Miami, and she texted me when she came home for like a spring break, and she was just like, hey, want to catch up? Yeah, sure, come over to my mom's house. She gets to my mom's house, she sits on the couch. I'm like, you want some water? I remember this so vividly, and I'll always remember it, is that I go to the kitchen, grab 2 cups of water. On my way, I'm like still in the kitchen, can't see her. I'm walking around and I go, are you still with so-and-so? And she's like, no, are you still with so-and-so? And I was like, no. And I freaking stopped. There's like a drop off to the living room, like a big step. And I stood up on the step. I wouldn't even step down it. And I was just like, stared at her. And she just stared at me. And I had this huge smile on my face. And that was the like, oh yeah.
We're doing this.
Yeah,
thing.
we're exactly.
Oh, yeah, we're doing this.
Yeah, and like it was just like a heart.
And
Like
you guys just like decided that day that it was gonna, or in that moment.
in that moment, just kept talking more. Obviously,
Yeah.
like it was like
It was almost like a non-communicated thing.
It was like a movie.
The universe came together. It was
Yeah.
just like,
yeah,
now's the time.
Not to relate it to The Notebook, but that's the first movie that came to mind. Is like when he starts, like when he first starts taking her places and first starts like hanging out with her, that like just staring at each other and not saying anything
Right.
and just smiling. Like that happened all the time.
Right.
That same day, she was just gonna come over, hang out, talk a little, and leave.
Right.
That happened. She hung out the whole night. We ended up
Right.
like we had similar friend groups and stuff. And I had her cousin Connor. She was friends with his friends, and I obviously had a ton of friends. And we had this big thing at Tully's restaurant, big spot in upstate New York. Tully's is awesome. And we all were like, we're gonna go to Tully's, and we should all go. We had a huge table. We went, and she sat right across from me, and we just kept like drinking our water, like
Just
staring at each
oogling
other, and laughing about nothing, just looking at each other.
Oh my God.
And
just so in love.
we all, and our whole friend group knew that we were like had crushes on each other. Like we always would try to make a point to like see each other. If there was like a party that our schools like knew people from, like I was like, you better go to this tonight. Like this is years prior. And I was just like, yeah, like I'll see you tonight type thing. And nothing ever, but just like,
Sure. Yeah.
but like, cause we were friends first. So
Right.
it wasn't like I was never hitting on her. It
Right.
was always just like, how's life and this and that. And
Yeah.
like, I met her family like early on too. And it was never anything crazy. And I love our story, man. I really do.
That's
like,
so cute.
Yeah. Like didn't meet on the internet, met in person, first date, all this other stuff. Like I told Connor, man, I'm going to marry your cousin. So I'm glad it's working that
It's working
way.
out so far.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, there's time for her to turn back, but nah. Looks like the odds are in your favor.
The rock on her finger reminds her, man, this is for real.
That's right,
This
man.
is for real, and she knows. And
Oh,
we
yeah.
talk all the time, daily, about like the wedding thing. But it's looking more like we're just gonna get married first before
Yeah.
it, because it's so hard coordinating the wedding with my whole family in Syracuse, and her uncles and aunts and cousins are in Syracuse still, but her immediate family's here. So the obvious choice is to make just the 4 or 5 people here. Yeah, like travel up to Syracuse where there's going to be like 60 of my family already there. So that's always been the plan. But I just said this to her, man, like 3-4 days ago. I'm in Syracuse and I'm like, we drove around. We went to the store. We're walking out of the store and I'm like, Court, I don't like it here anymore. I'm so glad you got me to move. Like I just couldn't imagine like still living here. And
Right.
yeah, and I don't. So your wedding's supposed to be about you. You want to be happy, A to Z. Like A to Z meaning like from the week leading up is.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And so I can't imagine myself. We just talked about this actually right before I came over. Is that I don't want the whole fly up the week before and stay at a friend's house or my parents' house in some crappy bed in a weird guest room and like worry about what they got going on that week, or even get a hotel in Syracuse and pay $1,000 for a week And we don't have a car up there. So it's just
Right.
like there's so many things.
It
Like,
would have been difficult to coordinate and plan a wedding and get from here to there, and for her to get to where she needs to go, for you to get where you need to go. It just would have been just be a lot.
there's hard parts to it that if I loved it and was all about it, we would have made all that stuff work. Yeah, but just like, I don't know, man. I just don't love the area as much. And here I go again, shitting on Syracuse, but it's unintentional.
Syracuse.
It's just heart to heart. Like, I want to be in complete zen when I have that wedding, like where there's no worry in the world. And I'm so grateful that she's the type of person that didn't like have these huge, like, I want my wedding at the Plaza Hotel, or just,
Right.
you know, like those.
Right. I want to be a princess.
And just to be fair, after I proposed to her, like the days after, I was just like fully transparent, babe. Like, do you want a big wedding? Like, what was, like, you were growing up? Were you a 4 or 5-year-old girl? Like, I can't wait for a big wedding. Like, was that your thing? And she goes, no, never was. I was like, really? Okay. Because if it was, let's ball out.
Let's do it.
Let's
Yeah.
do it. Like,
Yeah.
whatever you want. You know, I want it to be your best day of your life.
Yeah.
And she was like, I never had those dreams. And I was just like, okay, cool. Like, I'm glad I got to ask you that. And you told me in full confidence, like, what you felt. So now, balls in both of our courts, we get to actually do what we want. We both want the same thing, where we want our loved ones around. But, you know, there's no pressure. That's the
Right.
best part. Like, there's no pressure. So it's just like the zen feeling. Like, I just want our loved ones, us to be good. Like, we're not going to fight over what color the napkins are. Stupid,
No.
you know, stupid shit that you hear.
That's stupid.
Yeah, we're not going to argue over any of the things that are there. It's going to be simple. But like, we both realized tonight, and that we just want to be married, and we don't care how that happens. So financially, because right now, 2024 weddings are expensive.
Yeah.
I'd imagine more
It's easy to drop 30 bands on a wedding.
And prior to COVID, 30 bands was like, you're somewhere nice doing crazy things with a huge thing. But now 30 bands can be just like, you know, a small country club with like 100 people.
Sure.
So it's all gone up. Her brother got married before COVID, and we've price checked and everything, talking to them, and we're like, yeah, it's gone up. So
Wow.
so
It's not even about the love anymore, man. It's a business.
yeah. So, you know, we're gonna do the love thing first. We're probably gonna get married, but nothing's set in stone. So I can't fully talk on that, because, you know, anything changes. It changes daily for both of us.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So, because like, if we did this podcast right before I went home, like Christmas, even if we did this, I'd be like, yeah, no, we're going to have the wedding in Syracuse. Like, it's happening. But then I'm up there and I'm just like, I don't know, man. Like, I want to be comfortable. And it kills me to have my grandma travel, you know, that type of deal, because it's not comfortable.
No.
So, because planes are tiny, dude. Like, if you're even a little overweight, you're not comfy.
Oh, no.
I mean, I'm 6 foot even, and my knees touch the front seat in front of me. So it's like, it's not comfy no matter how you slice it, and the travel on your body, and then making 50 people get a hotel too. That's something I'm really not looking forward to. So the wedding is still TBD, still definitely gonna have to be talked about. But I mean, we're just so happy that like there's no pressure on like where, when, how much, and beautifulness. It's really just like, we're gonna get married first, and then we'll figure that out.
Right.
Because we have other financial goals. Like, we want to buy a house here, because right now we're renting. And yeah, I mean, want to own a couple homes, rent them all out, and then just figure out that. But my big thing is I want a big yard with the house I settle in.
Yeah.
And that's harder now because so many houses are being built and yards are getting smaller.
It's
and
true.
then anything with a yard is bread, a lot of money. So
there's a lot to be said about weddings. I mean, Catherine and I don't fight very often. I mean, we bicker, but every couple bickers and says, "Oh, shut up, you idiot." Like every couple does that. But the most we've ever fought was during our wedding planning year. I mean, we didn't fight, but it was just like clear disagreements because I was the little girl that dreamed about a big wedding.
For the record, like, I respect everyone's thing.
Well, I didn't dream of it, but you know, like I have, 6 siblings on my mom's side, 5 siblings on my dad's side. I knew my wedding was going to have to be big. We invited 150 people to our wedding, and 80 of them were family. Just mine, not even hers. So, I definitely can emphasize the point you made about like it's y'all's day, screw everyone else. If nobody in your entire guest list likes black olives, but you guys want a finger food with black olives, order it. It's your day. Who gives a shit? If you're ordering Little Caesars pizza to cater it, if everyone hates Little Caesars, fuck them. It's your wedding.
Yeah,
they're going to eat it because you're providing it.
Yeah.
But
we've been engaged since September, which is 5 months ago or whatever. And the first month or two after, it was talks like this, but not so much about the like fuck it mentality. It was the like accommodation mentality. And now it's finally creeping into the it's our day thing. It's so funny because it's cliche. Everyone says like it's your day, do exactly what you want. You hear it and you try to say yeah, but it's really hard until you finally let that sink in.
Well, it's your day, and yeah, it's cheesy, but I mean, for the most part, unless her parents fork over some dough and your mom and dad help out, like we were lucky enough to have both of our parties involved with it, but we still forked over a good chunk of money ourselves because we went into our wedding with 3 priorities. We didn't want people to be bored. We didn't people want to leave thirsty or hungry. So we put a lot of emphasis on the DJ, the entertainment. We put a lot of emphasis on the food, and we put a lot of emphasis on the alcohol package and options. Because I knew that I know my family likes to party. My family likes to drink. Our friends like to party. Our friends like to drink. So I knew going into it that we were going to have a pretty high set situation. I mean, we spent $4,500 on our DJ. We spent, funny enough, also our DJ luckily was a family friend. He's the MC for the St. Louis Cardinals. So he's the guy running around the stadium doing the little DJ things with the players and with the mascots and all the things. But he has this business called Porta Party. This sounds like an ad. A Porta Party DJs.
Right.
And he did it, and he was expensive, but I also had to pay for him to get down from St. Louis. And it was a buddy my dad went to high school with, and he's very successful doing what he does. And my dad was like, "It's y'all's day, but please hire Todd. Please hire him. You won't regret it." And we won't regret it, dude. If we could time travel back and be like the ghost of Christmas past, watching our wedding transpire, every attendee, even the people who had no business dancing, the people who were too old to dance, everyone danced. The dance floor was crowded the entire time. And looking around during the time and just seeing that the money we spent went to the right place, it was so worth it. And like you said, you want to be comfortable on your wedding day. I mean, I woke up, I spent the entire day at a pool. I got my beard trim and my hair cut. I did exactly what I wanted to do. She was off with the girls doing the makeup and the hair and all the things. So I invited my best friends over, and we partied all day and partied all night. It was great. But I will say that like a lot of people, like one of my wife's cousins got married, and they probably spent 20 grand on flowers alone. And it's like, we didn't. We bought fake flowers from Walmart and fake flowers from this place and Hobby Lobby. And we cut a lot of corners, but that's because our priorities were food, drink, and entertainment. Because one thing I can say, and there will be people in your family that make this point, because there are people in my family that did as well. Yes, it's your day, but some would argue that your job for the wedding is to make sure that your guests are accommodated for. And like having your whole family fly down from Cuse it's a tall order, and some of them might not make it. And unfortunately, you just have to accept that that's the case.
Yeah.
And I did this. I mean, most of my family is still in the Midwest, and they're all across the country. And I invited everybody, and I said, if you can come. We'd love to have you. If not, whatever. Everybody came. Except for one of my cousins who was very pregnant during it. And we got married, a little towards the end of COVID-ish, a year and a half or so ago. And COVID wasn't really an issue at that time, but, she was very pregnant. She was like, I don't want to risk flying down I'm still salty about it. Yeah. But,
that's the thing.
But that's the thing about weddings is, you got to accept that not everyone can make it. And It was a rip roaring time, dude. But I mean, at the end of the day, we spent $30,000 like that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't all our money, of course. It was other contributing parties, but it's easy to drop 30 grand. Easy.
Super.
I mean, I had cousins that had $50,000-$60,000 weddings, and it's an industry, man. We've always joked and said if we start a business ever, we should go into wedding business.
Yeah.
Because you can charge whatever the fuck you want to, and people will pay it.
Yeah.
Anything. There's people that are on the lower end of the spectrum that are like, oh, we want a smaller wedding. We want intimacy. And then there's people on the other side that are like, you got to throw a party. And that's the thing with me is that what a point that I started but never finished was that I have all of these family members. And when I even experimented with the thought of having a small wedding, my mom's, especially my dad's family, there's less politics, but my mom's family, my mom was like, that ain't going to fly. If you're going to be the first grandkid that doesn't invite everybody to your wedding, that's going to look bad on me. And I was like, Mom, but like, if they have an opinion, I was like, this is going to sound like an asshole. They got an opinion. They can pay for it.
Yeah.
Like, if you want me to invite all of your, like, all my other older cousins, when they got married, they invited all of my, like, my grandpa's siblings and grandma's siblings. And I was like, Mom, no offense to them. I see these people once every 7 years, and I see them at a family reunion, and they all say, oh, I haven't seen you since you were this tall. And they're 90 years old apiece. I was like, Mom, I'm not inviting them. They're not on my priority list.
Yeah. So I guess that's like the thing that could help or hurt is because, like you said, if the people that can't make it, oh my God, that would eat me alive if some of the people that like I really wanted can't make it for any reason. They are pregnant during the time, don't want to travel, or sickness or this or that. But I guess the sickness thing could, no matter where it is, even if it's in their town, if they're sick, they can't come. But
Right.
You know what's funny? The same thing here. My mom's side is more politics, bigger family, and I can't not invite all of them. And yeah, it's if I invite all of them to come down here, then I don't know, half can make it, half won't. Like that might eat me alive, but at least I might be getting that smaller wedding that I kind of wanted anyway. But it's funny when you first started talking about the whole dance floor being packed and that's what I dream of though, man. Like I dance at every wedding I go to.
Oh, for sure, dude.
Oh my God, you have to have an open bar or else it's like
100%.
Whack,
It's whack, absolutely.
And my family's big drinkers too, so like you got to have all that. And I'm excited when I think about all this, but I also have to stay real and know what finances are. And my family doesn't got it like that, so they're probably not going to help. And also, well, I don't want to assume.
when you see pictures like this, doesn't it just like I mean, look how many people are out there just boogieing, man. I mean,
I want that.
Just getting it. Just everybody is out there just getting it.
Yeah. And the longer I wait, the older people get and stuff, so the less likely that's going to happen unless, they're partiers like us, and then they'll all be out there still. But there's no doubt in entertainment for my family that'll always be a surplus of entertainment with my family, always.
Right. And it's expensive, man. But I mean, like looking back, do I regret our wedding at all? No. It was the best night of my life. Still forever, probably will be until the birth of my child.
Yeah.
But
I think we're going to do it too. But the thing is like finances are tight on both ends of the family. So sure. I think we're going to have to do a lot, which is cool. I actually like doing everything myself anyway. I'm the type that like, if I get a gift, my first thing is like in my brain, like, you didn't have to do that. You know what I mean? Like I don't.
How am I going to get you back now?
I accept gifts respectfully and good, but in my soul, I'm like, you didn't have to spend your hard-earned money on me.
Right.
Like I'm the type that doesn't really want things done for me. I want to do it all myself. So like the pride in me is like, I want to fund my own wedding, but the reality is, 30 grand, that type of talk, even 20, it's tough. But I want the night of my life. It will be, even if it's not this big thing, it's going to be the night of my life anyway, because I'm getting married to the love of my life. So I know that, and I want it to be actually what those pictures are. I want it to be just like that. I do. And I'm going to make that happen. It's just, and that's why I think we're just going to get married before it, because can't rush the finance part.
No.
I think I don't know this enough, but I assume weddings and funerals are like the two things that like they want the money now. They're not gonna like do a payment plan.
Oh no, fuck no.
That's what I mean. So
no, they're gonna. I mean, you're gonna put a deposit. Most of it is like
deposit,
put a deposit
and then
down,
leading up to it. But
and then,
the day that happens, it has to be paid in full.
Oh, for
There's
sure.
no back pay.
Or usually it's like, hey, 2 weeks before the date, you got to have everything paid, or we're not coming.
Yeah.
And
to the DJ, photographer, stuff like that. Like, you know, if we got married a year ago, I would shop a good photographer, good DJ, that type of stuff. But right now, like being 29, I have friends that are DJs and I have friends that are photographer.
Right.
They're like excelling in their career, even if they just picked it up recently. And I like supporting local business or small business anyway. So I really would love to give that business to a friend. Also, they'd have a good touch on what I like anyway.
Sure.
And
I mean, we did that for our photographer.
Exactly.
I mean, you hadn't met them yet, but I'm sure you will at some point. But some local friends that also live here in Cartersville, the wife's best friend is a photographer full time, and I've never really been friends with her. Like I've always just seen her at like their birthday parties or their Halloween parties or whatever, and like hello in passing. But as soon as we got engaged, she was like, "Who do we want our pictures to be taken by?" Because usually, I mean, this you don't have to do this, but whoever takes your engagement photos is probably going to be the same person who takes your wedding photos, just to keep the same consistency. And I was like, oh, I want Tate to do it. Tate's going to be great at it. I know she'll do great. And she's like, yeah, but we should probably shop for other people too. And I was like, yeah, but this is a person that I know and I've known for years. Yeah, I don't know her well, but I know she's great at her job. She does it full time. I know that she'd kill it. And we went with her and don't regret it at all.
Yeah,
and,
that's the thing.
Again, local business, small business,
like
a friend business.
Price aside, like I would love to have you get that business.
Certainly.
And you get to put it in your portfolio or your...
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I'm excited. It's a work in progress. We're planning it actively. So that's really, it's exciting, man. I mean, it's one of the best times of my life right now. And I actually feel like I'm doing me, you know, like it's my life first. That was the move, man. Like I had too much weight on my shoulders before I moved. Now I'm like focusing on my health, my home, my dog, my relationship, and just trying to build and just trying to do all that stuff. So it's really good, man. Trying to find your priorities, and the move has just been amazing. Weather here is great. Life's great.
Right.
Our relationship's never been better. So, and the friends, you guys just have made us feel so welcome, so fun, such good times. And like, just, we never feel like we're a burden, intruding, anything like that. Like you guys are just so great. So I wanted to ask you this a while ago.
Sure.
Because you know how we were talking about siblings and all that, and our parents and how they are, qualities we picked up on. Have you always been funny? Like, were you like funny kid, like trying to be a class clown in like first grade, or like?
I don't know. Again, because you know, I don't remember shit.
Because you're one of the funniest people I've ever met, and it's natural. You don't try, you don't spit bits or anything like that. Like it's just so casual. Like you could just be at a dinner table and you're just like,
we're just throwing shit out left and right.
And the zingers are like, you don't see them coming, and they're not all the time. So it's casual, it's nice, it's good. It's a breath of fresh air.
Well, I appreciate that, man. That's really nice. I've not been told that before.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, some people, you know, like if they're feeling, if you catch them once a month and they're in like a loopy mood and they're kind of funny, but you're naturally funny, like every time.
I appreciate that, man. That's really nice. I've actually even entertained the idea of going up on an open mic and maybe just seeing what a joke is. But like then again, like I like what you said, that I find scenarios funny and situations funny. I don't know if I'd be able to get up on stage and tell jokes with punchlines. I feel like if you ever watch, I know that you like Dave Chappelle. I don't even know if you like him, but I just know by looking at you and talking to you that you're a dude that loves Dave Chappelle. And I actually just watched his new Netflix stand-up special last night.
Dude,
he's got a new one.
The Chappelle Show in general is like some of like me and my friend group's earliest funny memories. So.
Certainly. And Dave is great because he doesn't tell jokes. He tells stories and, you know, ends a sentence with a funny detail, or there might be a grand punchline at the end of the story, but he's ultimately telling stories, and he's talking about real shit in his real life and real experiences and he just makes them funny. I feel like that's the kind of comic I would be. I wouldn't be like a Bert Kreischer, which I love Bert. You know, I love Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer and all those guys, Bobby Lee, Andrew Santino, all those guys. But I feel like I'd get up on stage and not do well if it was just, so I went to the supermarket last week and no, like that's not the kind of comic I'd be.
I think the names you just mentioned, I like their podcasts a lot better than their stand-up. There's
1000%.
a lot of guys like that that I like their podcast better. I mean, there's a lot of stand-up I do like that are really talented, formed bits, 5-minute bit, 5-minute bit, 4-minute bit, versus the story. I could see you doing everything, man. Not to hype you up, but I could see it all. So like if you were to start now, I could see you going to an open mic, even if it's a cafe and there's 15 people there. You could do crowd work. You could do I could see you starting with a story, starting to talk to the people in the crowd, and then making zingers on those people and stuff, and then maybe doing another story. And dude, that's what, 2 stories with some crowd work in between. That's
right.
15 half hour, however you want it to be.
Right. That's the problem though, man, is I feel like I'd be really good at crowd work. Like, oh yeah, where are you guys from? How'd you meet? Oh, I feel like I'd have a lot of dark humor in there too. Like I'd make like some real evil, mean comments about people and just like make it funny though. But then also I don't want to be like Matt Rife, for example. We were talking about this recently about how his stand-up was not great,
right,
but his crowd work on Instagram, I saw a clip this morning when I was getting ready for work. It's hilarious. His crowd work is phenomenal. The fact that he can just off the top just come up with shit about people in his audience is just amazing.
Yeah, and his stand-up isn't bad. It's just like, I felt like it was a lot of low-hanging fruit. I felt like you could see it coming, a lot of it. And yeah, I mean, there's people like Andrew Schultz, who's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Amazing podcaster.
Yes.
Amazing crowd work.
Yes.
And then just the specials in theaters where you can't do crowd work because there's thousands of people.
Right.
Amazing. Like the bits, like they're all well thought out. And I like stories people too. Like, man, I love Jim Jeffries and like that, like those specials of the long stories of him telling about Intolerant. That's a great special.
Absolutely. I mean, and I love comedians like Jim Gaffigan as well, who are clean comics that don't really have to feel like they have to do dirty stories or dirty jokes or cursing a lot. But I mean, I'm a cursor. I do think that adding in a bitch will add emphasis to a story and make something funny. But I appreciate the words, man. That's very kind.
Well, I think nowadays you can be a good mix. It's a perfect time to be right in the middle because, like you said, Gaffigan, Seinfeld, clean guys, and then there's like the
Bill Burr,
the dirtier ones and stuff.
Bobby Lee, Theo Vaughn.
Yeah, you could be right in the middle.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, man, Shane Gillis's his special, the beautiful dog or beautiful dogs, like that.
Shane is hilarious.
Dude, that was one of the best specials I've seen in a while. It's just so funny, and he just looked so calm on stage. Like, oh my god, so funny.
That's my only problem is I feel like I would be very scared up there to start.
I mean, you're always. I've never seen you nervous. I mean, we don't hang out obviously a lot, and we're newly friends, but you don't seem like a nervous type of guy, but obviously in a situation that you're not used to, of course.
Which is so funny that you say that because a guy who moved around as a kid, had to make new friends every, couple years, believe it or not, is incredibly shy. And
but you break the ice quick.
I try my best to. At work, a lot of the members and customers and such, they say that I'm their favorite person because I'm the easiest to talk to.
Yeah.
I'm the most relatable. And I try my best to be relatable to everybody.
We were just talking at dinner about there's people that are helping you and they're working and you're a customer and they're too comfortable. They're too, I want to just be your buddy.
Yeah.
And it's like, I could see you being right down the middle because
I am a bit of both.
You can shoot the shit, and you're going to stay professional. You're not going to start calling the customer bro. You'll be professional, but you also can sidetrack and be very relatable.
The one problem I do have is I say man a lot.
Yeah.
I'll be like, yeah, man, I agree with you or something like that. And
you don't have the Josh Wolf man though, the pod smoking.
I've never I don't know if I've ever called like a member or a customer bro. That's probably where I would draw the line for sure. But like, and I know my audience, obviously. Like if I'm sitting across from someone like you, I'd say, yeah, man, like I got you or something like that. Or like when I give people my business card, if they're young, I'll say something like, hey, if you can't figure it out, if you have a question, call me, I got you. But if it's like an older gentleman or an older woman, I'll say, hey, here's my card. If you need anything, please give me a shout. I'm right here. You know, I know my audience. And that's the thing is I feel like if I did stand up and I looked into the audience and it was all older people, I'd be like, okay, I'm going to be a little more reserved and be a little more poured back. But if I see a bunch of 20-somethings in the audience, I'm going to rip, roar, curse. I'm going to call that guy fat. I'm going to be the funny guy. But to answer your initial question about all this, I don't think I was always trying to be a funny guy. My family has always laughed at me, and by my family, not my immediate family, like my mom has always thought I was hilarious. My mom is my biggest fan, I think. My mom would say I'm funny as shit. My dad would say that he chuckles at things I say here and there. But my aunts and uncles and cousins think I'm hilarious. And I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. If they hear this, they text me and be like, I agree. They've always thought I was funny. Because similar to crowd work, if you said something, I could think of something within a minute of like, this would be funny to say, so I'm going to say it.
Oh, yeah.
But then sometimes, like, I don't know yet where the line is. Like, how far is too far? That's also something I like to push. A lot of people are like, oh, I don't even want to go there. I don't want to see what's too far. But I want to push that envelope.
Dude, that's exactly the perk you need. That's the gene that you have. That's perfect. Like, and all the thoughts you're reeling off, like, those are normal thoughts because it's a territory you haven't explored yet.
Right.
So those are totally normal. And like you said, the crowd with the older people, but last night you had a crowd with younger guys, and you were ripping and roaring. Now tonight you're thrown off because you see old parents in the crowd, and you don't know what's too far, and you might be reserved. But no, that's like jokes bomb. Like we've been just hanging out, and we've had jokes bomb.
Yeah,
but you gotta let them ride. Like see what happens, and then you find out. And I think like people, no matter what age they are, they appreciate the attempt. And the intention, like we were talking about, like
sure,
yeah.
Like I mean, there's situations like that happened the other night at Jordan's house that you realize when some jokes can go a little too far, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna reel that back. But now, almost like the other night at dinner, now I know that situation, and now I'm gonna make jokes about it and about the fact that I didn't know that thing. And so now every time I see Court, I'm gonna drop a line here and there and just kind of test the boundary. And then eventually, if I get to a point where it's like, no, I'll be like, okay, that's where I draw the line. That's where I'm good. But it's like you said, it's all about intentionality. Like if you can hear my tone and you can see my body language and you can see that I'm being aggressive about it, you may be like, oh, okay, dude, chill out a little bit. But if you can tell that it's coming from a place of, jovial and just I'm trying to crack some jokes, loosen the tension, like, it's all about intention. If I run into a room and say that you suck, like, yeah, I might be an asshole. But if I, it's all about intention.
You didn't do anything wrong. Like you might have made some jokes, but like they were not bad.
Right.
So I just like, as your friend was just kind of like, and plus we've talked about like I'm Italian and we've talked like stuff like that. But like, we're all coming closer as friends. So like I just told you nonchalant like she is, and you got so like petrified. Well, and I was just like, brother, you're fine, man. You didn't say anything yet. You didn't say anything bad, and I don't think you would.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like I said anything horrid.
Because you're not you're not that type of person anyway. No. So I was never worried like, oh, one's coming. I never thought that. God. And you were so petrified. Even still to this day, I can tell you're beating yourself up over it. I'm like, brother, you didn't say anything. Like, you're good. Like, she doesn't think anything. She was never offended. And you're good. Right. Trust me. Like, you would know. And we're the type that tell if anything crossed the line. But you're fine. Like,
yeah, like
we don't.
I drove home that night and I was talking to Catherine and I was like, God, I bet she hates me.
No chance.
But what's really cool and kind of like ever since we met you guys, I think the first scenario I met you was the all day golf day. I don't know when the first time I met Courtney was, but like you guys are just cool, like mellow people is how I describe you. It's just like Corey and Courtney are both just cool. Yeah. Like they're just cool people.
What you see is what you get. I
Right.
mean, transparent, I think it comes back to like the first thing we talked about is like, you don't know what you don't know. But then when you offend, like we call it out quick and it's no big deal. Cause like rather than let it eat you up or like wonder where he's coming from, you just talk about it. Like no big deal. And we're very both like funny people. Like we'll just talk about whatever. So I appreciate that, you guys like us. That's so, so I'm so glad that we got some good friends.
Absolutely.
Seriously, I can't say it enough. Don't beat yourself up, man. Cause like it was all good. It's so funny.
If
it could've
anything,
been anything, man.
like I said, from now on, like I'm going to make a joke or a reference to it here and there. That's going to be like, again, like it's your tone, it's your intention. If I was trying to attack her, everyone would be able to tell and everyone would be like, whoa, dude, chill out.
Literally, like that's the thing is like intention, beats like the vocab that you use or whatever the terminology. It's because like if like you said attacking, if you ever attack someone, no matter what words you said, it's like attacking someone's attacking someone. Like, yo, Logan, why are you hostile right now? Why are you coming at whoever about whatever? Right. It's like no. Right. And that would never be the case. Like even if you made a joke that bombed that may have been over the line, we know your intention's good. We know it's just like, bro, I've bombed a joke here at your house. It was it was rough. It was super rough.
Corey,
but it happens.
Before we continue, well, first of all, that's a funny timing. The camera is about to cut off.
Okay.
Because the camera only goes to a certain point, but the audio can keep going.
Okay.
Are you cool?
Yeah, I'm cool.
Cool. I also, just full transparency, the people who listen to this know this, but I don't do a lot of editing. I leave a lot of stuff in like this. Most people would cut this out, but I'm transparent with the peeps. The people that do listen, they get what they get. And I'm going to be honest with you, I have to piss like a racehorse. And I've been holding it for the last 30 minutes or so.
Yes,
and
me too.
I'm going to give us an opportunity for a brief intermission if you're cool with that.
I think it's perfect timing.
We'll just let it keep rolling. But I'll set the microphone down and I'm going to run upstairs and go to the bathroom. And if you want to go down here, if you got to go, go for it.
All
cool?
Right. Sounds good.
We'll
perfect
be back,
timing.
people.
All
yeah.
right.
Let's piss. Hello, everybody. We're back.
Hello.
You probably just got a cut, but we were gone for like a minute. But anyway, so I had to pee so bad, and not only because we had a couple drinks today, but I know it's cheesy, but do you and Court, do you have any New Year's resolutions you're working on? Because the one I am is I'm not going to get too big for my britches, but it's the year of Logan, Corey. We're gonna level up in any way I can this year.
I love it. I love the level up too.
So we're going to drink more water, and thus I drank like 3 Stanley cups of water today.
How many ounces is a Stanley?
It's in the dishwasher. It's probably about yay high.
64.
Probably 64 ounces. So I've drank like 2.5 of those.
That's a lot.
Plus 2 drinks here and a half of a lemonade from Culver's. So I've drank a lot of liquid today.
Yeah.
And so I had to pee like a racehorse. And halfway through the day, I was like, oh shit, I'm doing a podcast now. I don't have to pee throughout it. So I kind of slowed down on the water consumption. And
good for you, man.
But yeah, trying to do better fitness wise. But yeah, any new resolutions or anything you guys are working on? I know resolutions are cheesy and stupid, but the New Year is a good time to put some change in. So are you guys doing anything?
Yeah, I don't think they're cheesy. I think it's maybe cliche, but like I love resolutions. I love New Year's. New Year's is probably like my second favorite holiday, second to 4th of July. 4th of July, America, family barbecues, friends outside, warm weather. It's the best. I mean, like July is the best. So, and wearing red, white, and blue and cooking out. But New Year's is my second favorite because change is great. I mean, everyone needs to level up. 1% better every day. Hit that 2% better once you get to New Year's or something. I love trying to instill a new habit because it's so easy on Friday or Sunday to say, starting Monday, I'm going to do this.
Right.
But like, it never fucking happens. When New Year's happens, it just gives you more of a reason.
Right.
And then you're like, also, I want to see where I'm at this time next year or something. So it's just,
right.
Who's going to remember, like April 1st, I want to see where I'm at April 1st next year. So, but January 1st, you'll always know next year where you were at last year.
Right.
Fitness as well. I mean, it's maybe
Come on.
obviously a different goal. Maybe. I'm sorry for the obvious. I'm just saying that
Come on.
My fitness goal is to
I look like Garfield.
I want to bulk up. I've been skinny my entire fucking life.
Really? Okay, so you're bulking season
I've
now.
been tiny my whole life, and like I used to drink like mass gainer protein shakes, the ones that have like extra everything in it.
Okay.
And I'd eat dinner with it so that way I could try and gain weight. Never did anything.
Okay.
But
you should take advice from my brother. My brother's like a bodybuilding influencer.
You got to give me his number. I'm down.
I
Does
will,
he have
dude.
like a channel?
He does. He just kind of started it. My brother's a big like car. I don't want to say he's a car influencer, but he has a Camaro SS and he has like an Instagram page for it, and he just posts stuff all the time. Cool videos
How many
of
followers does he have?
I think like 13,000 or something.
That's impressive.
And he just started over the course of the last like 6 months or so.
That's
so
impressive.
it just went viral. But everyone loves cars. So cars on social media always go viral. But I'm not going to discredit what he's done. He's done some really cool stuff.
Yeah. That's
So he started a page. He decided that he was going to start trying to bulk up, and he's gone through some transformation here in the last last 6 months or so. I mean, he's bulked. I mean, he's got a video in here somewhere. I could show you a comparison. I mean, he's really done it, man. I mean, he looks good.
It's Operation Fill the Shirt. Like,
right?
It's Operation Fill the Shirt, man. I want to start, like, I want to be, because not to toot my own horn, but like if I flex, you see it. But if I don't, then I'm a twig. And so I just want to, I want to be just standing there and looking like, big. But it was always like, I never wanted to, I was always a little scared of those mass gainers because I didn't want a dad bod. I didn't want to like lose my abs and stuff. I just wanted to, it was so hard for me to gain weight, but now at 28, 29, my metabolism's slowing down. I can feel it. So now's the time. Like now it's probably not peak, what they say about bodybuilding. I'm not at my peak. I don't know my testosterone level or anything like that, but like, who knows about bodybuilding peak, but I'm just saying, like, I know my metabolism slowed down. So now it's actually, I can put the weight on. So that's cool. I don't have to eat like a maniac. But I do have to put work in the gym. I got to start like picking heavy shit up and putting it down. At UPS, I was lifting, but I haven't since my office job. Now I don't like lift as much. I mean, I'm still playing basketball and running a lot. I've done 3 5Ks in the past 3 months.
Okay.
And so proud of myself on that, man.
Yeah, that's amazing, dude.
Like, I recommend anyone to sign up for 5K because it just puts you in a place where everyone's doing it. And I love that there's a million different types of people there. There's people in wheelchairs, there's kids, there's dogs, there's old people, young people, everything. And you can, like, Courtney, who was an athlete and everything, but she's been walking the past 3 of them, and she walks so fast, though. Like, I don't even know if I could walk as fast as her. She walks like a 14-minute mile, which is like power walking. Yeah, it's so fast. And I mean, I've always been a runner, but I grew up with asthma, so I didn't like my stamina and my long distance.
Got my inhaler somewhere here.
Yeah, I got mine too. 5K, 3.2 miles. It's perfect. I mean, because over that, I'm freaking dead. But 3 is like, I can get myself to 2, and then I just know it's 1 more mile. Like 2 miles, and then I'm like, 1 more mile, let's get it.
True.
And I've just been trying to do like an 8-minute mile pace, and it's 24 minutes. And then, I mean, every course is different. If you're in a hilly area, then it's tough. But I've been right around 24, 25 minutes in all 3 of them. And I've been dead at the end of all of them. But like you said about drinking a ton of water, man, that's huge for our age and our bodies. Just water is medicine. Water is life. Like, it's so good for you. It's insane. Yeah,
it's crazy to think that like something can be that good for you. Like,
and then
besides air, water is the most important thing you can have.
Yeah, and then the reverse is anything not water, how bad it is for you.
Right.
Like the lemonade, who you think that's harmless, it's lemon and water, but it's sugar.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
a lot of it.
For sure.
Like, I grew up on Kool-Aid like crazy, man.
Dude, I love Kool-Aid.
I love it.
And every time I think of Kool-Aid now, I think of Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer's Kool-Aid thing. Like, you're drinking You're drinking 64 ounces of Kool-Aid a day to start your day.
He's like, yeah, I filled that thing up twice.
He's like, you drink. He's like, yeah, over COVID, we kept going back to Dollar Tree to get more Kool-Aid.
He's like, what kind of Kool-Aid is that? Red?
Red.
Fucking red. Not even Hawaiian Punch. You said red.
Not even cherry, just red. If he said like purple.
Berry, mixed berry. Yeah.
So just not even the situation, just Tom's sheer reaction of like, I've been friends with this guy for 15 years and I never knew. He's like, how often do you drink Kool-Aid? He's like, oh, I drink it every day. He's like, you've never mentioned Kool-Aid. Right. He was like, oh, I drink Kool-Aid every day. He's like, you drink Kool-Aid every day.
Doesn't he say it's like 7:38 in the morning too?
He's like, for those of you who need some reference, it's 7:30 in the morning. Dude, I didn't know who Tom Segura or Bert Kreischer was. I knew that Bert was like the machine and like took his shirt off and did that whole thing. Didn't know who Tom Segura was. And me and Catherine were just laying down in our in bed one night and we're just scrolling through YouTube and it was just on my suggested like hilarious comedians Kool-Aid story. And I was like, what the hell is this about? And we watched it. And to this day, I still think it's the hardest we've ever laughed because neither of us knew either of the comedians. We were just watching them just laugh their ass off at this stupid scenario. But it was that day that I was like, I am in love with Tom Segura. Yeah. I'd love to see the dude live, but every time he comes to town, it's like $350.
Yeah, he blew up. You can't say fast because he's been doing it a long time. And I saw his Netflix specials. He's got like 6 of them, and like 3 of them, he's like 300 pounds. And like those ones are older, 2010-ish, and they're still just as funny. Like he's always been a great comedian. He's really good on stage. He's got a lot of great bits and everything. I think Tom is a great comedian. Bert, I love Bert for the persona and how he is just as a person, man.
But his stand-up, man, it just doesn't work for me.
No, and it might be because there's so many other better ones. But you're right. I agree. He's not that great. I don't love the specials. I really don't.
No, but so Corey, I always ask people because these questions always generate a ton of conversation. So every interview I do, well, first of all, also here's a video of my brother just being roided. So this is him. Wow, that's crazy. So I said 6 months, but it's only been like 3 months. This is him in October. Just pretty skinny kid.
Get the fuck out.
Pretty skinny kid. And then that's him right now. Like bulked up.
Damn.
He like does all these bodybuilder poses like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
How old
like
is he?
23.
Yeah.
Like he's ripped.
Yeah. Good for him.
I just saw him.
Yeah, that jiggle at the end is like a good feeling. After you get the pump, you're like, wow, I got all this sitting there now. Like
all he does is pose in front of the mirror and shit at the gym, but like he's ripped. Like he looks amazing. I want to look like that.
It's always more impressive going from skinny twig to that.
Right.
But there's so many more like clips and stories of people losing weight and getting shredded. So
right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just happy with like the way my body will allow me to like put weight on now. So I'm really excited. But the thing is you have to put in, 5 days consistent. You can't miss a day for 4 weeks. Once you're a month in, then you have to but that's the hard part. Once you get the month in, then you're like, okay, I do this now. Monday through Friday, I work out, and then your body starts actually progressing and stuff like that. But man, that first 21 days of working out, the soreness is unbelievable. You can't even get out of bed the next day. You don't even want to think about doing what you just did.
So like when we were in Disney, like I was judging him because he was like, I got to go lift. And I was like, dude, we're walking 9 miles a day in Disney.
Yeah.
He was like, I got to go lift. I can't not lift.
Yeah.
He's like addicted to it like a drug.
Fast.
Oh yeah,
especially
for sure.
if you're skinny like he is. Yeah, you lose it so fast. And obviously supplements, if anyone's on them, then you lose it twice as fast.
Oh, absolutely.
But I mean.
But anyway, so what I was going to say is that I have a list of questions that I ask every guest. I don't prepare them for them. They're very much so first date questions. But they're also the same questions I ask everybody, so I kind of get a feel for who everybody is based on these 10 or so questions.
Let it rip.
They can be rapid fire, or we could sit there and talk about them if needed. You ready for them?
Yeah, I hope I'm ready. Go ahead.
They are. First one's first. I don't know if I know the answer to this one based on how much we've talked about it, though, is what is your favorite movie of all time?
Dude, it's so funny you start with that because
It's the most Logan question.
I think
also.
like 30 minutes ago I was thinking about if we were gonna go movies because I know we're movie guys.
Oh yeah.
Favorite movie, and
And if you can't give me a favorite, maybe give me like your favorite like comedy, favorite action.
I was gonna
favorite-
say you got to give me a genre because otherwise, and nostalgia is huge too. Like some people might say, the first movie they watched with their dad or something, even
Right.
if it's not good. Like a great low budget movie that always got me through hard times, that always pumped me up, that I love. Never Back Down.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I love it. It's like the lowest budget movie, and if you
for
watch
sure.
it, you can pick it apart, of course.
Oh, easy.
But I fucking love the underdog, and then the coming up at the end. It's so good. That movie, I used to always say is my favorite, but then I realized like you can't really say a low budget movie is your favorite. So
Sure, you can.
well, you can. You're right. Anyways, I would say, and then nostalgia, of course, and the Italian background, I'd say Goodfellas. You can't
Of
beat
course.
it.
Can't
And
beat it.
in a short second would be like Casino. But Interstellar, I love that movie.
Really?
I was on my back end of working at Regal when that came out, and they used to give out like the posters for it.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Instead of just letting it lay around in storage. So, and they gave it to me, and I put that in my room. I love Interstellar. Long ass movie, but great.
I've seen it one time and that's it.
Yeah.
I saw it in the theater.
Oh yeah. You've never seen it since?
No.
Wow.
I'd like to. I
We sh-
love
we should
Christopher
watch it
Nolan.
again.
I'm so down.
And we'll ask Jordan. And I love when people said they haven't seen a movie because then you get to have that. What, you haven't seen this movie?
I haven't seen
moment?
Casino.
You gotta. Are you a Pesci fan?
Oh, for sure.
I mean, obviously everyone loves De Niro, but Pesci, man, like My Cousin Vinny. Have you seen that?
yeah.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
good.
I've seen.
Oh,
I haven't
my
seen
God.
Taxi Driver. I haven't seen some of those older. Like I saw Goodfellas for the first time not 5 years ago, and after I saw it, I was like, that movie is absolutely worth the hype. Like that movie is so damn good.
Yes.
I haven't seen any of the Godfathers.
Okay, well, the 1 and 2 you got to see.
Okay, I heard
Yeah.
the third is
Yeah,
you
you don't need to. Yeah,
But at that point, I'm a completionist. So if I've seen the first two, I gotta watch
I'm
the
the
third.
same way.
I've not seen a ton of movies that people are like, how have you not seen that movie?
Just to go off like big things that are long in series. Have you seen Harry Potter?
Yes.
Were you a huge fan or just like?
I
Little bit.
watched them when I had mono a few years back. Kind of when I first moved to Georgia, I had mono and I was sick in bed for like a month.
Dude, we had COVID and it was the first strand that fucked us. And the Harry Potter.
And I watched all the Harry Potter
Yeah, and I had
movies.
already seen it growing up, but that's when Court got into it and she loves it.
It was the first time I'd ever seen any of them.
Oh,
And I watched them all back to back to back to back to back.
And when you're sick, it's like the greatest like.
Oh,
full-on
for sure,
watch.
dude.
Yeah.
I watched when I had mono. I watched all the Back to the Futures for the first
Yes.
time, and I'd seen bits and pieces of all of them. I watched all the Indiana Jones for the
Yep.
first time.
I love Men in Black. All of
I've
them.
never seen any of them.
Oh my gosh,
We should watch Men in Black.
Men in Black's great.
My friends have been hounding me to watch Men in Black.
I just watched 1 and 2 the other day, and then I got to watch
Damn.
3. I've seen it, but
that's probably the one that people give me the most shit about is Men in Black.
yep, it's up there. Have you seen Lord of the Rings?
Yes, I just watched those for the first time last year.
Okay, so I have not seen them. I've seen bits and pieces of multiple, like Hobbit: Battle of Five Armies came
Yep.
out when I worked at Regal, and that movie I used to like sit in the back, and I was
yeah.
like, while working, and I'd be like, wow, this thing is sick.
Yeah.
So I know that's good. And
And
then
what's funny about
my
that,
buddy raves about it.
to cut you off, is that true Lord of the Rings fans hate those Hobbit movies.
Okay.
Because the Lord of the Rings movies uses so much practical effects and makeup and costumes, where the Hobbit
CGI.
is mostly CGI, except for like the main cast of dwarves and Bilbo and Gandalf. Most of it is CGI. Whereas the Lord of the Rings, they spent a fuck ton of money on prosthetics and makeup and costume design.
Right.
And I mean, it's insane. And they're long as shit. I mean, I watched the extended versions and they're each 3.5, 4 hours each.
Yeah.
But I don't regret it. I'm never going to watch them again.
I keep telling Court that's the next thing we got to watch. I was like, you loved Harry Potter and all that. And I've watched Game of Thrones already, but I finally am getting her. Man, it's been like pulling teeth to get her to watch Game of Thrones with me. She's like, I won't like it. I'm like, you cannot say that about anything until you try it. Like, let's go.
Right.
We're in the first season towards the back end, and she's like, all right, this is good.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
right.
yep, so wait till the end. Game of Thrones, and I feel like Lord of the Rings are, similar and like really good. Game of Thrones is way crazier. But I can't wait to watch Lord of the Rings. I already know so much about it, but I haven't seen it. Yeah.
They're long as shit. But I mean, I'm just looking at a list of I have this movie app called Letterboxd. I'm not sure if you've heard of it.
No.
But you can go in and it's basically like a social media, but not really a social media. It's like a movie logging app. And you
I
can
love
go
shit like
into,
that.
you can go, this is about to be your
There's
new
a beer
obsession.
one. Like you
Yes.
can always say what you've tried.
Yep.
I forget what it's called. But
So this, and I'm OCD. So numbers, I'm in love with numbers.
like
So,
Rotten Tomatoes.
oh, so this says that over the course of my lifetime, I've seen 1,194 movies.
I love it.
So
So you just go down a list at first, probably, and just click on the things you've seen, and then you update it. As
and
you
you can rate it out of 5 stars. So like I have all these movies in here that I've rated on a 1 to 5 star level. Just,
I love
I mean,
that.
down the list, and it's just you can go in. Well, that's a documentary. That's not a good.
I feel like the hardest genre to rate, in my opinion, for me would be like horror, because
they're either really, really good or fucking horrible.
yeah, and then it's so hard to rate it. It's like, oh, that was scary, but the fucking movie sucked and the plot was trash.
Right.
Or the opposite. The plot and the characters were great, but it didn't scare me at all.
Right.
So
Like for instance, like this is Soul, the Pixar movie that came out a few years ago. You can go
Yeah.
in, you can see people you follow, what they reviewed the movie on. You can see their reviews. You can go back out of that. You can
I
You
gotta
can
get
go
that.
and review. You can read reviews about what people across the world have said about it. You can add movies to lists. So, like, I have a list for every movie I saw in 2023. Like every new release, I rank them every single year, and I've just been doing this for a couple of years. So I saw 57 new releases in 2023.
When you say new release, does that mean like you saw it in its first week?
I saw it. New release, as in it came out in 2023.
Okay.
Whether I saw it the day it came out, the week it came out, or 6 months later, as long as it released in the window of 2023, I saw it.
So you saw how many new releases? Like 50?
57.
Yeah, and then in 2023, you probably have another like 50 that aren't made in that year,
dude.
but you first watched.
I watched for the first time in 2023. I think it was 209 movies for the first time.
Have you seen Tenet?
Yes.
I really want to see it. So I know it's a fucking brain
You
like,
can
crusher.
you could
but-
skip it according to a lot of people,
meaning don't.
as in it's not good.
Yes,
But
because a lot of people, well, I didn't understand.
but it is a brain twister. So
Yeah.
that's where people are pissed.
Yeah.
People get pissed if they don't understand a movie.
Yeah, but I love that.
Right.
I love
it. But yeah, this I will have to send you the link to this later. It's a fantastic movie, or a fantastic app.
Yeah, for sure.
But anyway, so
Before we go ahead.
yeah, no, you go
I was
ahead.
going to say before we hop to the next question, because I am very intrigued by the other questions you got for me. But movies, man, I love movies. I
We
want
could
to.
talk about movies for hours.
That's true. So I guess we can hop off. But
Do you know my favorite movie? Have I told you?
no.
The original Jurassic Park.
Okay,
I love that movie.
it's a great movie.
Just the technical achievement in
What
it.
was that, like 93?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fact that there are movies that today released that have worse CGI
Mm-hmm.
than Jurassic Park.
Oh, I was just going to say, like, I'm a big Marvel fan. I've seen
Really?
every single one, and you could quiz me on like Marvel and everything about it, and I probably
So if
know.
Red Top did Marvel trivia, I'm bringing you.
Say less.
Okay,
Yes, for
bet.
sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
deal.
Just for the fans, we went to movie quote trivia.
Yeah.
And they didn't end up having it.
Yeah, fuckers. And
We
then they
all
said
were
they had
ready.
bingo instead. And then when you guys pulled up, they were like, we're not doing bingo either.
Yeah, there's not enough people here. It's like, what do you mean? There's like 30.
There's like 30 people in
Yeah.
here. You could have a real tight game of bingo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
whatever.
yep.
Fat.
They're
freaks.
lost because we would have won anyway.
Right? So, some more questions. So, next question is I want you to rank out of 3. So, you're going to rank your favorite, your second favorite, and your least favorite out of these 3 appetizers.
This should be quick and easy.
Chips and queso, chips and salsa, chips and guac.
I would say chips and queso, chips and guac, chips and salsa. That actually was a tough one. And guac, I'm new to and I love.
Okay.
Like I wouldn't have touched guac up until like a year ago.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't touched it.
Really?
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
not a
it's
fan.
So good.
I mean, I've tried it.
But it's kind of like hummus where it doesn't have that much flavor.
Right.
But they're both good.
Okay. Good
Yeah.
to know. Maybe I'll give it a shot in 2024.
Have you tried hummus?
I have had hummus. Yeah.
They're both very bland, but you get the right chip for either one and it's
Right.
good. Yeah.
All right. I know you're a music guy
Queso.
too.
Queso's gets the spice, and that's the
Ugh, I
thing.
love
And I know
queso so
salsa's
much.
got spice, but queso cheese just wins always.
Right. Absolutely. I know you're a music guy too.
Yeah.
You get to listen to 3 artists for the rest of your life. You get their existing catalog and everything they release in the future, if they're still alive.
Okay. Wow, that's tough because there's bands. You know, if it was artists, solo artists alone, this might be an easier question.
Sure.
But bands, man, like oh my God, I go right to like AC/DC, Pearl Jam, Red Hot Chili Peppers, stuff like that, where it's like hard to leave those out.
Those 3 would be a solid listen for the rest of your life.
Oh my gosh, dude! If
AC/DC,
you gave me
Pearl Jam, and Red Hot Chili Peppers,
10 album for Pearl Jam, like I could listen to that.
Oh, dude.
Forever. But I'd have to say Drake because the catalog is crazy.
Yep, that's a wise answer.
I want to say Kanye because like the first 4 projects were just incredible.
Sure.
But I don't like anything after that. Like I think Yeezus and on, I'm like, eh.
Yeah.
But I Drake, man, I'm a big Bob Marley fan.
Really?
Yeah. Oh,
there's a movie coming out about him soon.
Steely Dan. I'm a big Steely Dan fan. Because that kind of like with this question, I kind of want to hit 3 different things.
Sure.
You know, I'm not gonna just be like Drake, Kanye,
Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Right.
So
you want to throw like some rock in
there,
there, some rap in there.
Exactly, because I don't even listen to rap all the time. So, and I like vocals a lot, man. I really do. Actually, one of my favorite things to listen to is like acoustic, like just acoustic music. Even if there's a cover, I love a hot song, even if it's a mainstream song that was covered acoustic. I love it. I love it so much. Like, I mean, just because I said Drake, there was like a Hotline Bling.
Yes, I heard that.
Like a cover where they slowed it down and this guy's singing. Like, I was like, that's good. There's a lot of good singy songs that I like and artists, of course. Dude, Miguel is really good. I love his voice. There's, and on some super cheesy shit, I always thought Bruno Mars was fire. I mean,
he is fire.
Yeah, you know, the voice.
Where's he been?
Kills it.
He did that Supersonic album with Anderson .Paak, right?
I love Anderson
and
.Paak.
then disappeared.
Yeah.
Gone.
Yeah, I mean, he's made it and he's good, so he doesn't need to keep. That seemed like just a fun album because I mean, Silk Sonic was like the band, and then it was him and Anderson .Paak. Dude,
right.
When they won the Grammys and had that show,
right?
The performance where they're in like the, you know, oldie suits, smoking cigarette on stage, just like singing, smoking out the window, and all this other. That whole album's really good. Yeah. Even the ones that didn't make the radio. I do like Anderson .Paak and them. But yeah, I guess to answer your question, it'd have to be like Drake because you get a lot from him. Mm-hmm. And then I grew up on AC/DC. That was my parents' favorite. Okay. Them and Led Zeppelin, of course.
Sure.
And man, I'm a big like bands fan. Like I like Rush, but I'm not gonna put them in like the thing. I just think they have like the best drummer of all time. I think Drake, AC/DC, and like I love Bob Marley, man. Like, you know, in I Am Legend, when he's just singing, he's bathing the dog and singing Bob Marley to him. Like, that's my life. Like, I love, it's just so calming. If you could wake up to Three Little Birds, like the song or anything like that. Like, I mean, jamming, like Buffalo Soldier, all that shit. Oh, dude, Biggie is like, I could rap like all his songs.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude! Like
really?
Just like the bars. I think Biggie's I think he's like the greatest of all time. And then the New York in me is like Jay-Z's like one of the goats. I think if Biggie had a longer career, he would have passed all of them. Probably. So that's kind of sad.
Yeah, very much so. Next question. It's Saturday morning. You wake up. Court is doing her own thing. She's gone.
I'm going to play basketball or golf.
Okay, I was gonna say you're stress-free. No obligation Saturday. How are you spending it?
I've been playing basketball every single Saturday morning since I moved here. And actually before I moved here, our company in Syracuse, we have a lot of guys our age and stuff. And we have 30 people in a group message all trying to play basketball. And the first 15 that say they want to play, they're in. And we stop it there. You can't play after 15. Mm-hmm. And we do that. It was like 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. So even when I was in Syracuse just visiting, it was 6 a.m. We're balling. And I went bowling the night before till 2 a.m. rock and bowl.
That's a hard day.
Oh, dude, I'm like at the age now where I can't do that anymore.
No,
like,
absolutely
I
not.
regretted it fully. But anyways, yeah, basketball is always like my Saturday morning thing. But golf is starting to steal my,
my love.
I tell Court this all the time, that basketball is like my true love. But, you know, being like 29, second knee surgery, I don't know how much longer I can do this. And I'm in a basketball league, and all these younger dudes are just so much faster, and they can jump higher and stuff. And like, I used to be able to dunk and like run with the best of them, but it's just, you know, I'm on the decline. And like you said earlier about us being old men, man, like,
right.
I feel it out there sometimes, but I love basketball. It's a true love. But golf now, I got the bug. The golf bug got me, and I love it. I just would love to just get better every time. I got into it just trying to network and just trying to like hold my own in case, you know, future in-law asked me to play. I don't want to seem like
you don't want to be like an idiot. Yeah.
He can't even hit the ball. Jesus, you should just sit in the cart. No.
Right.
So I just wanted to get good enough at it, but the competitor in me is like, I got to be great
be
at
the best.
everything. Yeah. So now I'm just constantly trying to fix my swing.
Right.
So yeah, if court's gone and I got my day to do, so it'd be Saturday morning. It'd be a 4-hour golf session. I'd probably do like a 7:30, 8 a.m. tee time. That's good till noon.
Right.
And then if she's still busy all day, then it's a different story. I mean, I'd get lunch at my favorite spot probably, whether it's like some Mexican or, I obviously love Italian food, but I know I can't eat it in the middle of the day. It's a dinner.
Right.
Because I mean, unless you live in Italy where the food is just made better and with better ingredients and you're not heavy, but all the Italian in America is just, it's our water and our gluten and stuff. Like, it's heavy. So I can't have it for lunch, so lunch would probably be, and Mexican's heavy too. I don't know. I love Chipotle a lot. So something like that for lunch. And then after that, like I said, the golf bugs got me. I'd play another 18. But if that's not an option, then shit, I don't know, man. Love a good haircut. It feels good. So
I feel like every time I see you, you have your damn haircut.
well, it's funny because everyone says that, but I don't.
Or do you just style the shit out of your hair?
I do, yeah. I actually don't get it frequent. A lot of people have 2-week on regular, like every Friday, 2 weeks, I get it cut. That's not me. I wait like 4 weeks. I keep up on it a little bit sometimes. I'll touch it up, but I actually want to start cutting my own hair or having Court cut it because it's so expensive.
Mm-hmm.
I've done the like math on it, and I'm like, you know how much money I'd save? Plus my best friend back home, he's been cutting his own hair for years, and he's just like bragging about all the money he saved.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, around that afternoon, I'd probably hang out, play with the dog, do something fun. I like some me time, definitely.
Yeah, hell yeah. All right. Do you listen on Spotify or Apple Music?
Apple Music.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I just saw something the other day that I don't know if I think it was Meg Thee Stallion had like a clip or something that went viral that was like, I think Spotify's for kids or something like that.
Yeah.
Or something. I don't know. But regardless of that, I just never got it, which is funny because I'm down to save $1 and I know Spotify's free, but I didn't get it. Like, you click on a song and an artist you like, and then it starts going to other people and other shit. And I hate that. It's like, if I want to listen to him, I'm going to search him.
That's my argument, is that everyone's always like, oh, but Spotify's got better like playlists and like recommendations. It's like, I don't want recommendations.
No.
If I want to explore new artists, I'll go initiate that. I like what I like. I listen to the same playlist every single day that's got like 60 songs in it that are my absolute banger favorites.
Yeah.
And if I find a new artist, cool, they'll get thrown into that 60 song playlist.
Yes.
But other than that, I'm cool listening with what I like.
I've got 3 different playlists that I rotate, and like some of them are like the Drake vibe or the hip hop vibe, and then some are the cool Steely Dan, Bob Marley vibe, and then the other one's like the AC/DC Pearl Jam vibe. So I kind of just rotate those. But yeah, to answer your question, Apple Music.
What is your go-to karaoke song?
You know that song 4 or 5 Seconds with Rihanna, Kanye, and Paul McCartney?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
I've never
a
heard
good
anyone
one.
sing it, but I could fucking shred that.
Really?
Yeah. I mean,
I keep thinking we should all go do some karaoke or something.
definitely.
That'd be so fun.
There's actually, I like some singy songs, so like I could definitely, I don't think I'm a good singer, but like I think I would try it.
I am a decent singer.
I could see it.
I mean, I think I'm decent, but I've gotten really good lately.
Yeah.
Like, I practice a lot.
I used to sing in the truck all the time,
All
and then
the
obviously
time.
the shower.
Right? I sing in the shower. I have full-blown like shower concerts, dude. I turn that speaker up and I'm just jamming. And Catherine will come in and be like, "Are you done yet?" I'll be like, "Nah, dude, the concert's not over, bro."
Yeah, bro. Hall & Oates, Rich Girl.
Oh,
Oh my god,
Banger.
that's a good karaoke song.
My favorite is got to be. I'm a huge country music fan. I love country music.
I'm just getting into it.
You got to find the right people to
Yeah.
get you in, and that's how it happened for me. But I'll do Chattahoochee by Alan Jackson.
Okay.
Just it's a banger. I mean,
I'll check
throw
it out.
on the way home. It's old timey country, but it's a banger. I mean,
There's so much good country now. I mean, I touched on. I never really liked Luke Bryan. I know he's got the like mainstream or whatever, but Jason Aldean I always thought had good music. Brad Paisley I know has been around a long time, but I never listened to him. And my friend had his birthday. He wanted us all to go. We had pit seats.
Nice.
Like, I could touch his ankle.
yeah,
And like,
fun time.
I mean, I got wasted. We all did. It was so much fun, but I didn't connect to any of the songs because I didn't know them. But I've heard my first concert at this amphitheater there, not my first concert ever, but at this new amphitheater in Syracuse was Zach Brown Band. That was amazing.
It's a great show.
Yeah, and the music's great.
They know how to play too, and they're good
Yep.
without auto tune. They're good live.
the original like Rascal Flatts. Like, dude. I've seen a lot of concerts. If we go that route, like my first concert ever was in like 7th grade. I saw Disturbed. And then obviously in like junior high, I had an emo phase, or a girl I was talking to was emo, and like I was like, let's go to
You're like, let's go
Fucking
listen to like
something
fucking
crazy.
red jumpsuit apparatus.
bro. A guy I went to school with is in the band. He's the guitarist.
No shit.
Yep. And Face Down, banger.
Do you feel like a man? That's a karaoke song right
Yeah,
there,
buddy.
dude. Or like Dear Maria, Count Me In.
Oh yeah.
Or All American Rejects.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
dude.
Yes.
It ends tonight. That's a karaoke song.
Tinder.
Oh. Baby, why you cool? Dude, we got to go karaokeing.
Go home.
Let's make that
Get
happen
stoned.
soon. Please.
'Cause the
That'd be
sex
so
is
fun.
much better when
I
you're
can't
better.
picture Courtney getting up there and belting a song.
Okay. Huh.
I can't picture Catherine doing it either,
So
though.
Courtney's favorite music is R&B.
Really?
Huge Mary J. Blige fan. Huge. She loves.
Oh, no way.
Her favorite, like right now, is Kalani and SZA. We were gonna go see SZA when she came
Lonnie's
here.
good. Underrated.
Great. Yeah, and SZA's new album's like fucking bangers, bro. You know the song Snooze?
Yeah.
Shit's fire.
I want so bad to like SZA.
Yeah.
And I don't dislike SZA. I just don't have enough SZA in my life right now.
We'll show you a few. All you need is a handful. She's good. I like the tempo. It's like her. She's good.
Yeah, Catherine loves
She's got
her.
a great voice.
Yes, she does.
She's really good.
Um,
So stuff like that is what she's into. Janae Aiko. Oh my gosh. Janae is
she's very good too. Isn't she the one that has that Bad Intentions song?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's the small Asian.
Yeah,
girl. I think she's
yeah.
with Big Sean.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
she is.
Yep.
How
They've
do you
been
feel
together a
about Big
while.
Sean?
So I loved his early shit.
Yeah.
I actually fell off after the Detroit album. No. Yes. Yeah. The Detroit one was pretty good, but then after that I fell off. I don't know.
Yeah.
The tempo's the fucking same every time. It's just I don't know. His voice, it fell off for me. It's like he doesn't do anything with his voice. The
No, he
bars
doesn't.
are always the same.
Yeah, they are.
But someone similar to that with the same shit every song, Meek Mill, fire. Like I love me some Meek Mill. I mean, back in the day, he fell the fuck off. But
yeah.
Dreams and Nightmares is like, get me hype, bro.
Oh, for sure.
Dreams and Nightmares. That's like the pump up song.
Absolutely.
If I was about to like go into battle or something.
What is your coffee order if you drink coffee?
Definitely do. So it depends on if it's at home, a small cafe, or Starbucks.
We're going to Starbucks.
Starbucks, it's easily the. Well, if I need a lot of caffeine, it's going to be like a cold brew or a nitro cold brew. But if I'm just going for a nice. Because I don't like sweet. I don't
Okay.
like a lot of creamer.
Okay.
That's me. I never really did. I mean, my mom always liked a lot of creamer, and that's where I got introduced to coffee. I got into coffee really late. I didn't drink it at all until like recent, I guess. And
Yeah, I didn't drink it till I was like 20, 21.
yeah, and Dunkin' Donuts was always New York. We didn't get a Starbucks until recently.
Really?
Yeah, and well, keep in mind, upstate New York.
Right,
So
right,
New York
right.
City's probably always had Starbucks.
Right.
But upstate New York, recent to Starbucks. And I guess my go-to, the one I've ordered the most, is the shaken oat milk shaken espresso. Brown sugar shaken oat milk espresso.
Okay.
Ordered it the most, still can't say it. Yeah.
Interesting.
So, but then yeah, at home, like We got an espresso recently, so I'll do an espresso shot and then add some oat milk and just like stir that up and drink that. Hot or iced, fire. But because it's so cool with an espresso, you can get different pods. You can either get a shot of espresso or you can get coffee pods and it fills up the glass. And then, if I do a full coffee, if I like the creamer in the fridge, I'll do a splash of that. If I don't, I can drink it black. Like if we go to a diner, it's going to be black. I'll drink it black. Yeah.
Got you. You work remote, right?
Yes.
So this question doesn't apply to you, but let me ask you about it from when you worked at UPS. When you get home from work, do you change out of your work clothes immediately, or do you leave them until bed?
UPS immediately.
Yeah.
When I was at the hotel, I'd wear them for like an hour still. Okay. I was also younger and stuff, but I was dapper and fresh at the, because you had to look good at the hotel. So like I would keep them on. But UPS is disgusting. So they would come off at the door.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't blame you.
No. And then I guess if I went to the office at this job, because we have an office here in Alpharetta, I would probably stay in them. Plus, the job I have now is not button up. It's casual.
Yeah.
It's not super casual. It's just, semi-casual.
Yeah, you could wear a golf shirt and like
and
jeans.
I'd stay in that, yeah.
Okay, got you.
Yep.
What does success look like to you?
Oh, man.
Getting deep on you.
First thing I thought of was I heard this once, like, what do you do? And everyone goes to what job they do, where they make their money. But what do you do is, like, I love it as a question of, like, I go hiking. Like, that's where I'm at my happiest. Like, what do you do is, like, what's your thing that, like, makes you live on this earth? Like, what's your, or purpose? Like, whether it's purpose or what's your thing you like doing on the weekend and stuff. I like that type of avenue for what do you do? But what does success look like, And then Bob Marley's interview comes right to mind where he talks about, they're like, are you a rich man? He's like, what do you mean rich? He's like, well, money, do you have a lot of money? And he's just like, that's not rich. You know what I mean? Like rich and successful or whatever. It's
two different things.
Oh my God. It's just the way you look at it too. It's success to me would be waking up, opening your eyes and being fully happy and excited at the day ahead of you and being healthy, not in pain, of course, and your loved one also not complaining about anything and being like happy and healthy, being, she's excited to see you and you're like everything that she wants you to be. Mm-hmm. That's success for me. Like I want to be my best self for her. I think that's the best part. Like I said earlier about team sports make you so much better. I think also in relationships because you want to be good for the guy next to you in sports. You want to be good for the person next to you. I'm my happiest when she's happy, truly. The whole happy wife, happy life thing is no joke. Yep, people say it in a condescending manner where
it's true.
It's a sarcastic remark. And it's like,
it is.
I see it on the total opposite side. It's like happy wife, happy life. Yeah, because I want to make her happy. And if I'm making her happy, I'm usually being funny and fulfilling like the things that we need to do. Success. I love that question. It's financially, free. That's the word. It's my parents didn't make shit growing up for money and we were really low income and my mom always made it work. My dad made double what my mom made and he was the reason sometimes when like we didn't have power in the house,
right?
Stuff like that. So, but my mom made $30,000 her entire life, actually like $27,000. And she always made it work. She never talked about money, never complained, never anything. She was budgeting queen. Like she figured it out. She knew how to do it. So she taught me how to budget. And I always said to myself, knowing she made 30, that if I made 50, I'd be perfectly fine. That's 20 grand more.
Right.
I mean, granted, today's life is so much different. And that 50 is low. 50 is the 30, and then like, even if you make 70, 80, like you gotta live within your means and you gotta, and you still gotta cook at home and you still gotta do all those things.
Yeah.
But yeah, financially free to do the vacations. You got to vacation at least once a year. I always like to do a 6-month vacation, so twice a year, I think. And then the memories, like they always say, like your money should be spent on memories and sights and seeing instead of an object, because we all know you get the PS5, you love it, but then you're like,
right,
okay, you could get bored of anything.
Right, it sits there when I don't play it.
Exactly.
And it's just been a giant piece of shit.
Sneakers, and if the ones I don't wear, it kind of kills me.
Right.
So, because also, I recently found out that if you don't wear them for like years, then they end up like breaking. They get crusty and the shit falls off of them.
Yeah, I have heard that.
I didn't know that, and I got a lot of shoes, and I'm just like, shit, I got to start wearing these bad boys.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I love shoes, and I finally got to a financial place where I could get the ones I wanted, and now I just look at them and I'm like, okay, cool. So objects are always going to do that. I don't care what it is; they're always going to do that.
Nice touch, by the way. I forgot to mention it to you last night. I saw the shoes you were wearing last night.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, right. I hit the gas station on my way over here, and guy behind me goes, "How do you keep those shoes so white?" I'm like, "I just don't really wear them. Like, got some brand new Jordan 1s on, and it's just, yeah, love shoes, man. I always like to wear them, but you know what's funny is now I like comfort a lot more, so I'll find myself wearing just like Hokas and On Clouds and shit.
Right.
But those are the ones that get the most wear. But I do like me some stylish casual shoes. Success though, that is the question. As long as everyone's happy and healthy, I want my family to do well. I want to be able to help them even if they don't ask. I send my family money whenever, even if they don't ask and stuff. So I try to just do my part, and they helped me growing up. So success, man. I want to be financially free. I want to have not a second job, but I want like residual income. I want something to work for me.
Absolutely.
So I've recently got big into the stock market, trying to,
figure that world out.
Yeah. And also, like, you only know a 401k growing up.
Right.
Come to find out there's 100 other ways to have money in an account for you.
Passive income, man.
That you don't have to work or, think about, look at, nothing. I'm not a day trader by any means or anything. I like to look at mutual funds that just will steady grow.
Good answer.
Thank you. I love that success question.
On the flip side of that, what's your biggest fear? Could be metaphorical or physical.
We'll go both with it. Some people are scared of spiders and snakes. I would say, and people got clowns and all that stuff. I would say, oh man, I don't want any dry moments in this podcast, of course, but this is a tough question. Biggest fear, because you try not to think about it, Right. I would say,
like, mine's sharks.
Okay.
Terrified.
I'm more scared of jellyfish than sharks.
Really?
Yeah. I love the ocean. I'll go in any single time I see it, but jellyfish I'm more scared of.
Oh, fuck it, dude. Not going in.
Yeah.
Not going in. If I'm at the beach, I will get in the water and I will play in the water like chest deep. Okay. But the second I can't touch the floor anymore, I'm turning right back. I'm a big bitch when it comes to the ocean.
You out anyway.
Well, true. And it was crazy. We were at we took a family trip to Destin this summer.
Love
and
Destin.
A kid died. A couple houses down from us, got sucked into the ocean and couldn't find him. And they just assumed that he got sucked out into the middle of the ocean and drowned. Yeah. 10 years old. It was horrible.
I'm not scared of water. I love it. I love the ocean, everything about it.
I'm more scared not of just the ocean, but and not even just what's in the ocean, but it's more of just like the unknown of it. Like, it might be the ocean, it might be a lake, it might be a river. Just the unknown aspect of it. Like, if I could get into the ocean and get in the water and look down and see to the ocean floor, fine. Because at least I know how far away the next reef is, the next shark is, the next whatever is. But the fact that you can get in the ocean, and if you put your goggles on and get down in there and it's just infinite blue forever.
Yeah. That's
terrifying. You see the TikToks and the videos of like, this is how you know that you have thalassophobia or whatever. And it's just pictures of like, like water's up halfway up your phone screen and it's somebody like swimming and it's just cloudy and dark below her. Terrifying. Goosebumps just talking about it. Just nightmare fuel right there. Just the unknown of a giant body of water. I will ride the tallest roller coaster in the world, which I have. And I will skydive if you want me to, but I will not get out there in the open ocean.
I was going to ask you if you are scared of heights.
No. If I'm strapped into something, I'm not afraid. But like if we were up, 200 feet high and I wasn't held on.
Like a Ferris wheel where you're not in. strapped in.
Terrified.
Yeah, I don't like a Ferris wheel, but I'm
Don't like
not
it.
scared of heights really either. I like roller coasters. Love adrenaline.
Love adrenaline.
So
But when we go to like the fair, the North Georgia State Fair, have you guys been since you've been here?
No.
So we'll go next
When
year
is
as a
it?
group. It's back in like August, September-ish
okay, that's
time.
when ours was
So
the New York State Fair in Syracuse.
there you go, boo.
Yeah.
They have this thing at the fair here that takes you kind of like a ski lift. It takes you from one end of the fair to the other, and Catherine loves getting on it. But the only thing that you have is just a lap bar in front of you, and like sometimes it stops and the wind is blowing. Terrifying, bro. Fucking terrifying.
So I have a lot of things that like I get, like everything you've just said, they're not terrifying to me. Like that word terrifying, like not at all, but the scare. I get the scare, like the whole seeing people swim and there's so much blue, like that's scary, but not terrifying for me.
It's like the ski lift thing. It's just like if I were to like look over the edge and just see my feet and like think of then my brain just pictures me slipping out of underneath the lift. Like, you know the ride at the fair where it's the swings that go up and up and up? Oh, shit. Thanks for reminding me. You know the ride at this fair where the swings, start swinging here and you go all the way up and it's just this swing?
Yes.
And you're like 300 feet in the air? Will not do it. Fuck out of here. I don't care if you're writing me a check.
Also, it's only like one cable holding you. So
right.
I don't like
and
that.
it's like this rinky-dink lap bar that's holding you in, and it's not even really strapped in. Like no offense, some carny hooked it up, and if he was like, fuck it, like
especially fairs, because
right.
they just roll into town and leave.
Right.
So that's
you never
sketchy.
know.
But like when you go to Six Flags and that's been there forever, like I trust them.
Or Disney World, like I
Yes.
trust them. Like I'm not afraid if I go to a roller coaster at Disney World or something.
So I still can't come up with like a shark, a snake, a thing like that. I can't come up with like a thing I'm terrified of. I understand slight scares, but I'm not terrified of any like object. But I got a good one to answer your question is two-part. One, not being financially free. That terrifies me because I've seen struggle and I don't want to do that myself.
Right.
But the main one, I'd say 60%, if that's 40, would be kids. I've brought up twice, I think, that I can't wait to be a father to, instill the good things and teach these great things. But also, like, if the fear of not being a good dad, even though, like, you had one bad moment that could live with that kid for the rest of their life, because I'm sure we both can say one thing their dad flipped out on them that one time, and
Absolutely.
that shit sticks with them.
Oh, for sure. I'll never forget it.
Yes. So the one time that something happened, that's honestly one of my worst fears is like you slip and then you accidentally freak out.
That's a really good answer.
When that could have been a moment where you just go, man, like, you tried your best. Instead, you say that was bad or horrible. And now he has no confidence for a couple of years. It's like, or he has no confidence at his first job 10 years later. It's like, that's the shit that scares the fuck out of me.
Wow. That's a really good answer. Fuck.
Thank you. Like, cause you got to be on your shit every day, all the time. And you're around that kid, like, more than you're working and stuff. So the one-offs scare me. Just like, being with your wife is different, but like you never want to flip out. And if you ever overreact, you like got to apologize all the time, not for her, but for you. Cause you're like, I acted out of character. We're both good dudes. And if you ever act out of character, those happen so rarely that when you really act out of yourself, you're like, why did that happen? I must be really going through some shit right now. Mm-hmm. And you got to apologize to the loved one around you. But we're all grown that like we'll get over it, but your kid won't. And that shit scares me.
That's terrifying to think about.
Yeah.
And the last question I got for you, and it's kind of a two-parter, and it's kind of fun, but it could get deep.
Oh,
whatever.
We're at the end already?
Huh?
We're at the
towards
end of the questions?
towards the end.
Okay.
The rapid fire ones, that is.
Yeah.
Do you believe in ghosts?
I've never ever came in contact, that could be. I've never anything. The only noises I've heard in a house I know were like the furnace or a neighbor creaking, but so it's tough, man. I mean, if you've never come across it, the ghost question, I think is kind of just that's where it ends right there.
Right.
In my opinion. I mean, we can go deeper and say like, do you believe in it? Do souls stick around? I could get there. Yes.
Right. But like the physical being of a ghost, I don't know if I believe in that, but I definitely believe that like this land that all these townhomes were built on, if someone's old rinky-dink house was here in the 1915 and they died, could they be hanging around? Sure.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I always heard somebody say that like ghosts or souls that stick around, there's a reason why they're around. I forget what it was. It was either that
Is that like what Casper's about or no?
Kind of like it's like they couldn't. So if you want to be religious about it, I heard someone say that they couldn't decide whether they go to hell or heaven, and they just stick around on Earth.
Couldn't decide. I don't know if I like that.
Right, like whoever the power it be decides where you go. Decided, I don't know.
Okay.
For you,
Yeah.
or like I heard that if you are sticking around, like if you're a spirit that sticks around, you have unfinished business.
Yes, that I've heard.
Or there's something that you're meant to see that you haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
Whether it's, and it could be like, if you, like if you tragically passed away and your spirit hung around court and your child, like what if the thing you're supposed to see is, your kid graduating high school and you're just lingering in your home with Courtney as she's raising your kids, and you just wait to see high school and then you move on to whatever's past.
Yes. So I believe in like angels where like, not the physical sense where like you'll see their full formed body, but like maybe a reflection in the mirror in the window at most.
Sure. On the flip side of that, do you believe in like demons? That like when you see movies about like possessions and like exorcists, I know some of that stuff is blown out of the water for Hollywooding and everything, but do you believe that shit's real? That people get possessed by evil spirits? And
well, one step back, I would say, yeah, the unfinished business thing, because like in horror movies, they typically follow the murder victims are the ghosts, like almost always. Demons and exorcisms and possession. Do I think it's ever happened? Yes. Do I think it happens all the time? No. I think that's like one in I don't even know, a billion, might be more. Because like, how come they're all in the early 1900s? Right. You never see anything about a exorcism or possession since.
This is true.
Because I do believe in like that. The first Exorcist movie is from a true story, and like I don't doubt that shit happened. Right. So, but you don't.
That's
hear
true.
About
Was
it
the last time
since.
you heard about someone getting an exorcism?
Exactly.
Or is our society just so unfocused on that shit? And at the time, like if it was like, whoa, Billy 4 towns over got possessed by a demon and he killed his baby brother.
I don't. Right.
Like you don't hear about that shit anymore.
Right. And you don't see the extreme exorcism where like they're there for a month, bodies getting like fully dead on the outside, like that type of thing. I think
they're floating in their fucking bedroom and shit. Like that doesn't happen.
I think society would focus on it.
Oh, for sure.
But I think like if it does happen and a demon possesses you to kill your baby brother or something like that, then it's very short-lived and that person either dies right away or something. Like I don't think there's like long drawn out of them trying to like get the demon out of the person.
There's
maybe
this,
I don't know.
There's this famous court case from like I think it was the 80s where it was the first time someone claimed demonic possession in the courtroom, and they were just fighting that argument like, I am not guilty by demonic possession. Like, do you think that should be something that someone gets away with?
I think it's near impossible to prove.
Right. Like, how can you?
Because then
prove
what?
that?
You get one like priest or pope in there to say yes, I think that's what happened.
Yeah.
And then it's like still one person.
Right.
No. To answer your question,
like I forget who it is. So. If you know who they are, Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Oh, yeah, The Conjuring.
Yeah, The Conjuring. Yep. So there's a very famous court case that they were involved in where the guy gets on the stand and he says, "The devil made me do it." And that's actually the title of the third Conjuring movie, is "The Devil Made Me Do It." And the whole story is that, this kid was possessed and I think he killed his uncle or somebody, and he got up on the stand and said, "I didn't do it."
Yeah, it was a good movie. And at the right after he did it, he's walking down the street with bloody hands, like he's coming to. He's like his soul's actually coming to the front, and he's like, "Is like what just happened?"
It's crazy, man. I mean, but to your point, I'd never even thought about the fact that you don't hear about that shit happening.
No, man.
Like if I Googled like recent exorcism in the 2010s, like when's the last time that happened?
Yeah, post 2000, like I'd be interested to read on those because you never hear about it. But do I think they get off? No. Do I think they should? No. I mean, because here's the thing, man. Taking a life.
Yeah.
I just watched Hacksaw Ridge, and the main character's mom is really religious, and she really just instilled in him like that's the number one sin in the world. Like you cannot take a life. And I mean that there's so much weight behind that. I think anyone who's ever taken a life would hang on to that the rest of their life, and you should. You know, I really feel for like manslaughter victims, not even the victim that passed. I mean, I almost, this might be wild to say on a podcast, but it's almost like the person that committed the crime might almost be a victim in some way, shape, or form too, because it's accidental. Take away drinking and driving because you did it. You chose to drink.
Correct.
So take that away.
Right.
But let's say you're sober driving.
Yep.
And someone cut you off. They disobeyed the traffic laws. They ran the red light.
Right.
You followed the green and you T-bone them and they die.
Right.
Now you got to carry that the rest of your life, but you were just literally, you had a green light. You went straight.
Right. Or like think about all the accidents involved with like semi trucks.
Yes.
And it's like
the brakes don't work.
The brakes don't work.
Because
you pulled out
can't
in front
stop
of me
that quick. Yes.
And
physically.
I hit you and you're dead.
Yes.
And then that's that truck driver's fault.
Dude, Jim Boeheim, legendary coach of Syracuse Orange, was a player there and then was coaching there for 45 years. His name's on the court and everything. He's a legend in Syracuse. He killed a guy 2 years ago, I think. It was like 2019, 2020, around that time. He's driving at night. It's pitch black out. I think it's 10 o'clock at night on the highway. And a guy's car broke down and he was on the side. And he was walking on the highway. And he was like...
Hit him?
Yeah, and he hit him and killed him. But he didn't see him. Like, how would you see a person on the highway?
Yeah. And when you do
at
see
night.
him, finally, you have a split second to jump in the other lane. If you can't jump in the other lane, if someone's right to your left, you're going to hit the guy.
And there's so many celebrities that don't see jail for that type of thing. And you just think, oh, money, status, celebrity. But really, like, his case and a lot of other cases like that, they didn't, there was nothing he could have done. And then it's sad when like a Joe Schmo, no status person commits the same crime and then is found guilty. 40 years. Yes.
What do you think about, if you know the story, what do you think about the Alec Baldwin situation?
So I don't know too much on it, but I do know the Spark Notes. I think there's safety precautions that have been well known for a long time. I think he's guilty as fuck I know so little about it, but I would say...
I did a lot of digging into it.
Okay, so you know more than me. I would say like either the person in charge of safety is definitely at fault, and then I would say Alec is also as well, because the actors are just as much trained on not to aim it at someone and pull the trigger because you don't know. But actors have died for the same thing. Didn't Bruce Lee's son die the same way?
I think so.
Yeah, it was like...
He was shot with a prop gun or something.
And it was a blank.
And it was
But it like misfired and like killed him or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, like these... I've heard podcasts about people talking about when you're on set and there's a scene with a gun or anything like that, there's like day or two long just safety meetings. You can't even shoot those days. You're there 12 hours just to hear this guy talk about safety, and then people either skip the meeting or they step out and this and that. And
you know what's crazy about the whole scenario is that when a weapon, first of all, they usually use rubber or plastic guns, and then they use CG in post-production to make it look like it was a real weapon. But the fact that a real revolver
killed her?
A bullet straight. He shot her.
I know
they put a live bullet.
They put a live bullet?
Well, somebody put a live bullet into this gun, and they were rehearsing, and he shot her, and she died.
So knowing so little on it and just hearing that, I mean, the person that put it in it is like 99% fault, and Baldwin deserves some, though.
And not only Alec, but there's
Baldwins are Syracuse people, by the way. Mom still lives there. Grew up like 2 miles away from me.
Really?
I think she just passed away actually, but had a sick house. The Baldwins are from Syracuse, and so is Tom Cruise, and so is the Wizard of Oz was there. That's why we have a casino called Yellow Brick Casino.
Okay.
It's all Wizard of Oz's Chittenango, Syracuse.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he,
Post Malone.
of course, found not guilty.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's a piece of me that thinks that he should be guilty because, again, I mean, I don't have a gun. I want a gun, not for any reason other than protecting my household.
Yes.
But I don't think about guns. I don't think about shooting guns. I would only have one for the protection of my family.
Yeah. I've gone shooting with my brothers at ranges,
Sure.
and it's
And
so
I've done
much
it
fun.
too.
I love
Yeah.
it. I don't really believe in hunting as a person myself. Like, I'm not going to go sit out there for 12 hours and maybe not see anything.
Right.
And also, even if I do see something, like, you know how duck hunters and stuff, they see tons and they bring back tons.
Yeah.
If you're eating it, cool. If you're not eating it and it's just sport, I think that's whack. Personally.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
It's kind of like catching a fish and then just throwing it back in the water.
Yeah.
Like, I know fishing is a different thing, I guess, than like shooting and killing a duck.
Because some people will say that fish is gonna die because it punctured its cheek, but like, how do we know?
Right.
Does it really die? I don't know.
Who knows? Maybe it just swims around with a fucking hole in its
Right, because
fucking
we
lip.
would. We get fucking scars on our body all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
So I don't see why it would die. But yeah, you know, fishing is a little bit on the lighter side. I think like killing ducks and not eating it is
Right.
super whack.
It'd be like
and
us
deer
killing
too.
a deer and then just being like, all right, next, and
Yeah.
like leaving it there. It'd be
Yeah.
like different. I know like guys like Joe Rogan like love deer,
Yeah.
or they eat deer, and it's like this thing. I've never had deer personally.
Oh, venison's great.
Really?
Yeah, it's good. And he's a big elk guy, and I guess elk meat's even better.
Yes.
I guess it's the best.
Apparently.
I'm down to eat all that stuff. And if it was like me and my uncles were to go hunting and the goal is to get one and take it back and eat it,
Right.
Cool.
Sure,
I don't
for
really
sure.
I don't want to be the one shooting it because like I'm such a big animal guy and a big dog guy that like having dogs, man, like everything feels like a dog to you.
Right.
They're all just so like soul's
Innocent.
great, love you. They just want to be with their environment. And I think deer and all that stuff similar. I think they love their environment and they all have families. They have conscious
Right.
brains. Like it's sad to see them all die. Like the whole poachers thing fucking kills me. So I always wanted to get into rescue and help, whether it's dogs or whatever the case, or get rid of, you know, poachers and this and that. But the reason why I'm not going to go into stuff like that is because it is such a big fucking field that, yeah, you can scratch the surface, but in reality, that's all it is. You're scratching the surface. There's shitty dog owners everywhere.
Yeah.
Countries eat dog.
Yeah.
You can scratch the surface here in America and
Wonder
help,
what that tastes like.
and help rescue a lot of dogs, but like you're never gonna even scratch the surface here in America, let alone change the world or anything like that. So yes, it's a good deed, and I do agree with that's the thing with like people who help you know, kids and all that. That's great. That's amazing. Like you're really helping like kids and actually humans form the world. So I think that's a lot better. But you know, I'm such a competitive person that I want to be so big and great in whatever the case is that like when it comes to these topics of like your best is still only going to scratch the surface. It's so saddening. If I got into a field like this, a nonprofit, anything,
Sure.
even if it was feeding the homeless, I would know in my bones every day that I'm not doing enough. You know what I mean? Even if I ran the biggest non-for-profit or whatever, I would still know that I'm not helping enough people, even if it was 1 million or more. That's just how I am. Like if I dropped 30 points in a basketball game, I'm going to know the shots I missed would have been 35, 40. Like that's how I am. I leave a game where I dropped 30 thinking about the shots I missed. So like if I'm helping people, all I'm going to think about is the people I'm not, the ones I'd missed, the ones that aren't coming out, the dogs I didn't rescue. It's like the ASPCA fucking commercials kill me. I hate that shit.
To one up and you can just give me a rapid fire one on this one.
Yeah.
To level up the ghost thing, do you believe things like Loch Ness Monster, Bigfoot, Sasquatch? Do you think that
100%.
shit exists?
100%.
Really?
Yeah, exists currently in 2024, no. I think at one point, yes.
Really?
Yeah, I mean...
Like Megalodon, shit like that?
Oh my... Megalodon the most.
Krakens, shit
Kraken
like that?
and Megalodon the most because of the whole we haven't seen shit about the ocean. It's much.
There's so much down there that we don't... And that's part of the fear, too, is the fact that we've only explored like not even half of the
Dude,
ocean.
crocodiles, alligators have been around since dinosaurs. To think that, like, you know those sea dinosaurs, the ones that like the Lapras looking
Yeah.
Pokemon dinosaurs, those ones, to think that there's ones like that aren't still here is crazy. And that's exactly what a Loch Ness monster looks like. It's that like snake looking thing that's
Yep.
huge. To think that that's not around is nuts. Anything water related, 1000%. And then when you go Yeti, Sasquatch, stuff like that, I still say 100% yes, but I don't know about presently, because I think like
We would have seen it by now.
land is so explored.
Right.
And we would have seen it. There'd be footage on it. There'd be
Right.
something like that.
And every footage you do see is always, I say that,
Absolutely trash.
It's trash. The footage is trash. And then I'll one up that as well and ask you about aliens. I think we've talked about this with our buddies and everything, but
Yeah.
because famously Jordan does not think aliens exist, and he thinks it's all bullshit, and he doesn't think there's any other life out there in the universe.
I will drill Jordan about this for the rest of our days, because I just want to know to what extent, because now that we're on aliens, you can go so many directions. Are they real in the universe? Yes, because I think it's crazy to not think there's life outside of Earth.
Right.
I think that's crazy.
Listen, and I don't even.
I mean, dude, trees are life. To
Right.
think that there's not
And-
a living thing.
And he's
the
clarified
earth.
a little bit, and he's been like, listen, like, sure, there might be organisms, but he doesn't think aliens in either the way of like the alien from fucking American Dad or E.T. or the aliens from Alien versus Predator. Like, there's so many, or, Yoda. Like, what kind of aliens are we talking about?
That's fair.
I am absolutely on board for the fact that there are animal organisms out there that exist.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I feel like it would be so ignorant for us to think that humans are the only intelligent life in the existence of everything.
Exactly.
There's no way.
Yeah, and honestly, back to the tree thing, they're intelligent life because the way that they operate is insane. Like trees and flowers and stuff like that, and insects, they're so fascinating. I love the whole, if a praying mantis was bigger, we'd all be fucked.
Oh,
Dude, they would rule the ants. If they're bigger, they'd rule the world. Yeah, and so alien, its definition, anything not from here or whatever,
Right.
and UFO, unidentified. Like, there's obviously those things by
Right.
definition. By
definition. But is it from outer space? Is the question.
But like in Scary Movie, like those aliens, like
Right.
and stuff like that. So
right? Is it a tall gray figure?
right.
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, and have they been here? Like, sure, that exact thing from the movies could be out there.
they've been here.
Yeah.
I full, just like you said, 100% Sasquatch, and maybe at some point like that
Because
should exist.
the reason I with the Yeti and Sasquatch, because I think that we used to be giants. So, boom, ready for this? Egypt,
Okay.
aliens or what? Who built Egypt and the pyramids and the things that have been here since before we were here?
Jesus.
I like that one.
Never even considered that.
Really?
I've considered the fact that aliens might have built the pyramids, but I've never thought about the fact that we could have been giants.
So yeah, the alien one's a popular topic because of technology. How did we lift the tons of stones and the coordinates of the pyramids? The
Right.
fact that they're so perfectly placed
They're
and they're
perfect.
in a triangle to reflect the astrology and all that. So
There's no way people were that smart. I mean, I'm not saying that they weren't that smart, but like, there's no fucking way.
well, at the same idea, like we operated by looking up,
Right.
where's the sun in the sky?
Right.
Even before there was a clock and time, there was where you knew what time of day it was by where the sun is. So there was no light pollution. So you saw the stars full blown. So the fact that they built them to look up at a certain point in the stars, I mean, I could kind of see all that.
Sure.
The alien thing, I always used to believe, but I recently heard the giant theory that we used to be fucking behemoths, like huge fucking people. I don't even know if that's the right word, but the fact that we used to be huge and like giants and stuff, I actually like that theory a lot. So you know how like they would go with caveman and Neanderthal and all that. We were same size, skull was bigger, whatever. I don't know, man. I think lately I got into this, so it's not fully formed thought, but I think that we were way bigger. And also, do you ever hear about like the lost civilization where we have a huge timeline gap that we know nothing about.
Right.
That like you'll never hear about in learning and this and that.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I think I've gotten into that recently, and I think that we were a lot bigger than we think when we were smaller.
Wow.
I mean, think about it. Like everything was bigger. Dinosaurs. The reason that because you ever had a fish tank?
Yeah.
So the bigger the fish tank, the bigger the fish grows.
Right.
That's as simple as it is. Like you can get a fish that'll say it's 3 to 6 inches, but if you put it in a 70-gallon tank, it's going to get 8 inches. That's
Right.
how it goes. And that's why I think probably humans on land were probably the same way, I imagine, because there was nothing but trees everywhere before we started cutting it down, before the Industrial Revolution and all that. So I think when the earth was what it was, dinosaurs were big, we were probably big.
Damn.
I think there were giants, man. I think we were huge. And who
I'm
knows?
gonna have to look into this after you go.
Who knows if it was even human? But
Right.
you know,
There were beings here that at some
that were
point.
big, and who knows if that's considered alien?
Right.
Right. What if you know how we were talking about gray alien, no
Yeah.
dick, and all that stuff?
Right.
What if an alien was just like a bigger, like a Thanos looking thing,
Yeah.
where like they
How do
were
we know that humans
Human-shaped.
in quotation marks weren't 15 feet tall and 900 pounds?
Yes.
And that was just the norm.
What if like the Andre the Giant, like that was what we looked like back then?
Right.
You never know. Like, I mean, elephantitis and all that like exists for sure. But I mean, yeah, like
Testicular elephantitis.
I love
knew
the
it'd do
South
with
Park
that.
episode with when Randy's carrying his nuts around in the wheelbarrow. They put their nuts in the microwave just to get them huge. Like South Park's the GOAT.
It
You ever
is.
seen the movie Basketball?
No. Basketball?
Basketball. BASE get ball. Like it's baseball, basketball together.
Baseball, basketball.
Yeah, basketball. You should watch it. It's the two main characters are Matthew Stone and the other guy. The two guys that created and still operate South Park. They're the two main characters. They act in it. They wrote the whole movie.
Really?
It's so fucking funny. They create a game that's baseball and basketball put together. So good. And it just starts with like they're at a party and like these two jocks are getting them to play basketball. Let's go play 2-on-2, whatever. And they're trying to steal the girls, and they're just like trying to impress the girls.
Yeah.
And then these two guys are holding the beer. They're degenerates, and they're just like, well, we obviously can't take these guys. This guy's dunking right now. And it's like, well, let's play horse. And he's just like, horse, what? And he's like, yeah, what? Horse. Actually, let's play this game that we picked up in the fucking hood. It's called basketball. And they pick it up on the fly. They create it. They make it a full sport. The whole movie's like the sport they created.
That's fucking
basketball.
awesome.
It's so good.
Okay.
And it's like while someone's shooting, like in horse or something, while someone's shooting, you have to psych them out. And you say whatever the fuck you want to psych them out. And then they like miss their shot or something like that. Oh my God, the psych outs are so funny.
That's funny as shit.
Everybody go watch basketball.
Okay, will do. If you take anything away from this, watch basketball.
Basketball is
And that humans were once fucking 30 feet tall.
brand new.
I'm gonna look into it.
Brand new thought that I did not look into. I just think I heard it that like, you know, we were taller and bigger as just, you know,
So we just
skeleton
built the
type
fucking
thing.
pyramids by like taking the blocks and just.
Yeah.
That's a really good. I'm gonna have to look into it. I'm gonna get deep into YouTube tonight.
Is that real? Are we Joe Rogan time frame right now?
Yeah, that's real life.
Wow.
That's the longest podcast I've
The
ever
Logan
recorded.
Lewis experience.
Yeah, right. I thought about renaming it. Logan's Lowdown is a little cheesy, but
No, that's the first time I heard you say it in the
Really?
intro, and it's great. I didn't know we were doing a new show.
we are.
I love it. How many eps are you in?
So it's kind of complicated because I used to do an interview podcast called The Exchange, and I called it The Exchange because we're exchanging, whatever, stories, life, whatever. And then I stopped doing it, and then a few months back, I was like, I'm gonna start interviewing people again. That's right. I have my most fun, and I just was like, I'm just going to call it Logan's Lowdown because I was doing movie coverage, and then I stopped doing that because I was kind of, I was feeling like some kind of pressure that I had to get to the movies and see every movie to talk about it on a podcast. So it kind of felt like work. So I was like, I'll just keep it under the same name and just make everything Logan's Lowdown, have like all the brands consolidated into one. And, good Lord.
You have like another job if it's solely around a thing. Like if the name is like I review this or something.
Right.
Yeah, then that's like another job. But if you keep it like for example, Sam Morrill and Mark Norman's podcast,
Right.
We Might Be Drunk. Like
Yep.
they honestly, every fucking episode, they talk 30 minutes on movies and recent ones they saw, maybe even longer. And I love that because their title could be we review movies, or we just talk movies. Like it could be something on that, and they could have a very successful show with just reviewing movies. But keep it generic. Keep it like I like Logan's Lowdown. Is that what it is?
Yeah,
I love
Logan's Lowdown.
And then it could be like Theo's podcast where like he had a shit ton of solo eps, and then he has guests on, and then he'll have like 4 weeks straight of guests, and then he'll have a couple solos, and then whatever he feels like doing.
Right.
I like that because then you're never tied to anything.
You're not tied up to anything, and that's why I like it too.
Yeah. I think it's good because then you can always be funny. You can always just have an interview like this. You could do
Absolutely.
whatever.
I love interviewing people.
I didn't even know we were doing an interview. I thought we were
Just shooting the shit.
I did say to Court coming in, she goes, "What do you think it's going to be like?" I was like, I really don't know. It could either be one of two things. Either one, it's going to be just him interviewing me, and then we might have, maybe another one going down the road where we just shoot the shit because the interview had already happened. We had that up of interview.
Right. There's a little bit of both.
And then I said that, or two, it could be a little of both. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm super happy with how this went, man. I really appreciate you having me,
dude.
Like, whatever we do going forward, I'm glad to be here.
I know, dude. I had such a good time. It's the longest one I think I've ever done, easily.
I am shocked seeing that timer.
Isn't it crazy?
Dude, I actually
when we intermissioned, it was like 2 hours.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't look. I looked one time, and it was an hour 20, and I was like, wow, I listened to so many like 1 hour podcasts.
Yeah.
And now, Whiskey Ginger Santino's his always are like 58 minutes.
Right.
And like all of his guests are always like, wow, that happened so fast or whatever. And I get it now because we were just getting going at like an hour 20.
I'm surprised Catherine's not back, if I'm being honest. She just went to dinner with somebody she's going to dinner with for the first time.
I thought she was either here or going to walk in like anytime.
I was going to tell you at some point, I was like, hey, she'll probably walk in. So when she does walk in, just completely ignore her.
Yeah. And I
but, but the fact that she's still out with him is a cool sign. It's hilarious. So we went to the Nutcracker a while ago, and in early December, and we sat next to this woman, and her husband are also from Cartersville, and she was like in their early 30s or something, or early to mid 30s, and her and Catherine just started talking, and she was like, "Oh my God, we should just exchange numbers," and that's who she's out with right now.
That's amazing.
So maybe a new couple friend on the horizon.
Oh, a couple friend, and then what is she, third wheeling?
Oh no, she's just out with the wife.
Okay.
And they just had a baby, so the husband's, I guess, hanging out with the baby. But
have you met him?
I have not.
Okay.
This is the first time we've been, or either one of us have interacted. Oh.
Yeah. If I was gonna say if he's cool, then get him on. We'll come. We'll hang out over here.
I can't wait to see what he's like. Maybe I'll talk to him. Yeah, we'll grill him on aliens and conspiracy theories and stuff.
I love it, man. I mean, those three, I think, ghosts, aliens, and what we
like
didn't
monsters,
talk about,
yeah.
we could talk about next time is like religion.
Oh yeah.
I don't know where you stand, and we'll save it for another time. But
okay.
I'm just so intrigued on it, and then
if we talking about it, religion, I'm going to offend some people.
that's okay, dude.
I could talk about religion. We should save it for next time because that could be its own thing.
So intriguing, and then we could even, I don't know if you got more microphones or not, but
Oh, I do.
I hung out with Jordan. We watched. It was actually at what was that bar we went to? Game Day.
Yeah.
That day, I went over to his house after just for like an hour, and Miranda went upstairs, and we talked about religion for a minute. I think I just asked him if his family is, and I think he said yeah. And then I just kept asking him a ton of questions on it because I'm intrigued by it. One of my good friends, we didn't grow up together, but we got like adult friends when we grew up. He's huge into like religion and all that. So I used to always ask him questions, but his family was into the like small church where everyone he knows there is like almost family.
Right.
The priest is like full blown, like speaks in tongues and all that, or whatever it's called. I don't know much about it. My family didn't grow up in it, but we'll talk about that.
I assume. I mean, you're Italian. I assume Catholic.
Yes, that's what's like
that's what
given
I was raised
to you
as Catholic.
when you're baptized as Italian,
right?
As Catholic, but
yeah, Yeah.
To be honest with you, I don't even know really what it means and stuff. I understand Christianity more, so I don't know the difference between Christian and Catholic. And honestly, I think if you just took 100 people you saw on the street and said one question, what's the difference between, Catholic and Christian?
I don't think nobody has the answer.
I think you go 0 for 100. Some would try and they would probably butcher it.
Yeah. We'll have to save that for another time because I could go another 2 hours talking about religion.
Wow. I would be asking a lot of questions because I don't know much about it. I mean, I'm intrigued and I understand like basic stuff, but yeah, we'll definitely save that for another time. We got so much more we could talk about.
We do.
So
I don't always say that we should do a part 2, but like we should do a part 2.
Let's go.
Yeah, we should do a part 2.
Your boy got the pass,
dude.
the thing you strive for is we should do this again.
Yeah, 100%.
We had a good
like,
first date.
Hey, let's do this again.
Oh my gosh. Will you text me in the morning?
Yes, for real. Text me when you get home.
Should I wait 3 days?
You won't have to wait too long because those listening to this, if you're still here, thank you, first of all.
Yes.
But you'll be listening to this on this coming Friday. It'll release this Friday. I'll
everywhere you can find podcasts.
Everywhere you can find podcasts. The video, for as long as it went, will be on YouTube. I'm going to have clips circulating on TikTok.
Yeah.
And I'll send them all to you that you can send to your friends and family and stuff. But
I might have to give you a bigger battery for that camera because I think
right.
I got more like physically looser after that died.
I know.
Yeah.
I could tell.
Yeah, and I think you did too even.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like
hat came off.
Hat came off. I love this hat. Oh,
that
God.
thing is sick.
Bandage. Yeah, dude, I fucking love this hat. I saw it in Disney World, and I was like,
yeah,
for some reason, I just vibe with the classic Mickey.
Yeah,
and the yellow is just such an and you can't wear yellow with anything.
No,
so you just gotta wear it and own it. So,
yeah, but that's the thing. I was actually just teaching like my mom this is she always color coordinated everything she's wearing. If she's wearing pink, she'll wear like pink shoes and this and that. I'm like,
right.
You know what's dope about pink shoes is like make that be the standout of the outfit.
Right.
Like hat and shoes, you can have a neon color,
right.
And nothing has to be the same.
Right. Like I'll wear an entire green outfit, but then I'll wear purple shoes, purple hat.
Yeah.
Or I love the combination of having the shoes and the hat match.
Yeah.
Like today at work, I wore a black vest and my shoes were black, but nothing else coordinated with black. And
that's cool
my
too.
boss was like, "That's a cool outfit," and I was like, "Thank you."
That's so cool.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah. Compliments are great. And then, when you can pull a fit together, I like I
love
when you
a
have
good
a
fit.
standout thing.
You always have a fit.
Thanks, brother.
I'm gassing you up on that. Every single time I see you're wearing something flames.
For the real ones that made it from start to finish, here's the explanation on the shirt. This is Atlanta United's soccer jersey. Yep. I went to a game here and I bought their kit. This is just a jersey here from the MLS team here, Atlanta United, and I loved it when I found it.
Hell yeah.
Like mint green. I was like, this is sweet.
It is sweet.
Thanks, man. And not a big soccer guy, but I do like it.
Yeah,
so,
it's nice.
It's cool.
For sure.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you.
For sure.
Yeah, buddy.
Did you have fun?
I loved it, man.
Cool.
It went so much better than I thought.
I'd love to interview Courtney now. Do you think she'd do it?
I think she'd do it. I just don't know if like scheduled ahead. I don't know how that would go. Go for it.
We'll see.
Yeah. Shoot the text.
We'll see.
Shoot or shoot.
Yeah. Now I want to know more about her. Now that I know 25% about her.
You should. I'm gonna rave when I get home about how this went and everything, and then shoot it and see what she says. I'll push it. I'll tell her to.
We'll see.
I think
we'll
you
see.
should.
And I'd like to interview all of my friends because you know people, but then you don't really know them until you sit and talk with them for 3 hours, just one-on-one.
Yeah.
I mean, even if me and you went to dinner together, we'd talk for an hour, and then we'd go our separate ways, and it'd be like, oh, that was fun, but. I just got 3.5 hours of you.
Yeah. I felt like when we went to dinner the other night, I felt like me and you talked a lot. And then when I got home, I was just like, I hope Jordan didn't feel like left out. Cause like,
right.
But me and him talk a lot more. I'm like, I'm getting to know Logan now. Like,
yeah. I mean, we talk about this all the time. I mean, groups of 3.
Yes.
It's an awkward situation because it's like one of my favorite jokes to make is like, oh, thanks for the invite.
Yeah.
It makes people uncomfortable, or like you'll hear me say this one a lot of like he'll be like, oh man, I bought this thing. And I'll be like, oh, I didn't know you were doing that well. It's a joke that makes everybody uncomfortable.
Oh yeah.
Like especially like people who do well.
Yeah.
And like if someone will be like, oh yeah, like I got like my dad, like his company gives them like a gift every year. Aside from a bonus, they give them a gift. And this year's gift was a pizza oven. And it makes pizzas in 60 seconds. It's crazy. It's like a wood fire pizza burner, 60 seconds.
So
no shit.
Do you put a frozen in, or do you make dough and put sauce on it?
Well, you can buy the pre-made dough and then
Yep.
you just put sauce on it, your ingredients or whatever.
Yes.
Put it in, put a timer on your phone, 60 seconds, pull it out and it's done.
That's insane.
It's fucking awesome.
That's cool.
You guys are definitely going to have to catch the invite for the 4th of July. My parents have a bar and pool at their place, and it's always a fire experience. So when you said you love 4th of July, you're going to have to catch the invite. But we'll
Yes.
probably do pizzas or something on the wood fire burner or whatever.
Please.
But I love dropping especially to Jordan, because Miranda at one point was just like, stop saying that. I'm like, no, never.
It's a good one.
It makes people uncomfortable, but that's, in my opinion, part of comedy.
Yeah.
Of like, I love pushing that envelope and making people uncomfortable.
Like, what do you say back? You just laugh and look at them.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh shit, didn't know you're doing that well. And someone will be like, shut up.
Yeah.
And then they'll keep telling their story or something. Or
You guys hit us with it at dinner the other night.
oh yeah. Or like if you're like, yeah, like if you're like, oh yeah, trivia was so fun, I'll be like, oh, thanks for the invite.
Yeah.
Like it makes you, for a split second, feel like shit. Just for a split second, you're like, oh no, man, it's not like that.
I felt
It's
like even more shit because the topic none of us were good at, and I was like, I swear to God, right now, if Logan and Catherine say they
Are huge true
know
crime
that,
people?
yeah, I'd be like, fuck. Because
Yeah.
also I'm a winner. I like winning. So like,
true.
Your company's great, but also winning's great. So like, if you guys didn't come and you know everything about it,
I would
I'd feel horrible.
and we can save this talk for next time too. Religion and Marvel, we can talk in deep. If you guys went to Marvel trivia without me, I'd be pissed.
Fair.
Not pissed, but I'd be like, ah, fuck.
Yeah,
come
fair.
on.
Yeah,
But,
and we hit movies. We could do TV shows next time too.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
That is if they have it.
Yeah.
Fucking
Well,
hell.
I mean, even we could just talk TV shows.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah.
True. Oh yeah, true.
Yeah. I know Catherine. I love the fact when she said she knows New Girl or something. I was like,
Oh, Catherine's obsessed with New
oh
Girl.
my
Speak of the
gosh.
devil.
Yes.
There's a garage door.
Perfect timing. Yeah.
Right?
I love all that stuff. Well, we got a lot to talk about still.
We do. So if you guys, with that said, again, thank you so much for doing this with me, taking 3.5 hours after your Friday night to sit here and shoot the shit with me. It truly means a lot. I value you as a friend that I hope will be around for a long time. And you know, I moved around so much and I met so many different people, and believe it or not, you and Court are some of the coolest people I've met. Just
Thank you.
down to earth and cool, go with the flow. You guys never complain. You never bitch about anything. Like it's just your vibe just speaks for itself, and I just can't wait for you guys to be around.
Thank you.
Going forward.
Yeah, man, like auras and all that. I'm glad that we carry a good one, and you
do.
guys too. I think our little group here and everything. Even you texted me recently saying like just double date like us four. Whoever.
Absolutely.
I'm so down, and you guys are great people. We don't plan on moving. We want to buy a house here, so even no matter what the case was, if we're here or if we move, you're gonna be a homie forever. We'll always keep in contact, and I do look forward to all the future hangouts and whatever we do. So
Hell yeah.
thank you so much for having me, man. This has been a blast.
Anytime. Until part 2.
Until part 2.
All right.
All right,
See you guys. If you guys like this, share it with a friend. If you see a clip you like, share it with a friend. Share the links around. If you're a friend or family of Corey's, thanks for tuning in and listening to this whole thing. We both sincerely appreciate it. I hope you got to know me a little bit throughout this episode, and we'll just can't wait to see you next time.
Yeah, first podcast for me in the books, and I hope it went well. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it, man.
We'll see you guys later.
All right, see ya.
Bye.